Okie dokie. Test 1, 2, as the old saying goes. So, here we are on the bench. Thank you muchly to the legend that is Brad for giving us a bit of a shout out on that sort of section there. I've had a bit of a chance to mess around with some stuff as well and got me a new shiny toy. So, you look over here on the, just below the funky logo. Managed to score myself from good old Cashies, one of these DJI mics, which I've kind of been drooling over for a while because they look really quite cool. And they do that whole thing where you've got, rechargeable case and that, and inputs specifically for USB-C and Lightning. So since I'll be in Japan in April and March, and Brad will also be over there as well, we'll get a chance to do a bit of a live stream with two people chatting. And I'm not fashionably late, I hit the wrong button. I was just an idiot. So how does the audio sound now? I've had a chance to go through and actually tweak it and find out what was going on there. Basically the way that OBS ingests audio in on Mac in this particular way is that it boosts the input by 6 dB. No matter what you do, you can't see the input signal. You can only see like a summed output on each of the channels. So yeah, hopefully I shouldn't be clipping quite so much now. The levels seem like they're okay. I did a quick export and checked the levels in Premiere Pro and all that. And hopefully it should be hunky-dory. I've still got to drill down and do like a bit more with EQ and a bit more with the compressor, but this should hopefully do the jobby. Balmy -14 in Windsor, Ontario. Man, lucky. Last night it was like 37, 38 degrees C, so like triple digits for, those who are in the funny numbers over there. And it was a nightmare. The missus actually couldn't sleep. She had to jump out of the bedroom and go into the lounge room where the AC is. Good, good, good. Thank you. I like to hear that it is hunky-dory. So as per the wonderful, thumbnail that I created to throw out there and all that, going to work on a couple of Aussie amps today because I had a gentleman who brought in his a section of his whole collection. So he's got a lot of old vintage Aussie amps. Some of them are in good condition. They're playable. Some of them have some weird funkiness going on, and some of them need a bit more work. So this is a Vadis or Vadis, V-A-D-I-S. Here. All right, there we go. True funky 60s type logo. So these ones were made here in Sydney, actually, by a company called Soundcraft. Soundcorp? Sound something? I can't remember now. Now, of course, I'm going to draw a blank on it. Like a lot of Aussie companies, they existed mainly to provide stuff to the local domestic market, because we have really, really interesting protectionist policies in Australia. So we're here on the opposite side of the world. We're not connected to, say, for example, Europe. So it's not like there's easy rail freight between countries. It's not like we're in the US where, big, massive industrial powerhouse by that point, and, the military-industrial complex pumping out 10 million tubes more than it really needed. So we had to make a lot of stuff off of our own backs here. And in order to keep Australian jobs and keep things floating along and all that kind of stuff, we had very, very, very high import tariffs. That's one, Soundcraft Proprietary Limited. Before Soundcraft, UK was the thing. So we had protectionist policies here in Australia that meant that, for example, if you were to import an amp from, say, the US or the UK or something like that, it was like a 50 to 100% tariff in some instances. So we make them locally. You had companies like Vadis, aka Soundcraft. Here up in Sydney, you also had Fisonic. Dude's still floating around. He's an old guy. He still makes them under the Fisonic brand, which is kind of interesting. Down in Melbourne, you had companies like Strauss, M&R, Golden Tone, aka Rose Morris, aka Rose Music. Then we also had, on top of that, up in Queensland, you had Vase, who were doing some stuff. There was a lot of companies doing amps in various things. Down in Melbourne as well, you also had Lamberti Bros, who was a importer and distributor that also made amps as well, and they sold under the Rex name, which, interesting story about those. The company Still continued to function up until about 5 or 6 years ago, when the family kind of split off, and one of the brothers went off and started his own distribution company. But about 15, 20 years ago, they were clearing out the warehouse and they found a stack of these old Rex amps that were never finished at the back of the warehouse. So they actually fixed them up and sold them on, which was I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah, so we made amps in Australia. They weren't good. Not even in the slightest for the most part. Between our obsession with chipboard, so everything was made out of chipboard, right? TVs, chipboard. Furniture, chipboard. Amplifiers, chipboard. Australia is a humid country. We have a lot of rain. We have a lot of heat. So the reason why not a huge number of these types of amps exist, other than the fact that they all just got thrown in the bin in the 70s and 80s, was that they were made out of this chipboard that would swell up and disintegrate. It had turned into like Wheat Bix, or you from the North Americans would call like Wheaties or something like that. So yeah, they kind of all died. But what was unique about them as well is that not many of them were direct copies of US or British topologies. So over in the UK, obviously, you had Jim Marshall, who just went, oh, hey, here's a 5F6A Bassman. Let's make one of those. So they made the original, the original JCM 45s that were just one-to-one clones of the Bassman, using a couple of UK-specific things. So using like KT66 instead of 6L6s on the output. And then eventually they shifted it, changed it, put in the EL34s, and then went onwards and onwards from there. In Australia, however, we had a bunch of radio guys designing amps. So really weird circuits, really weird designs, really weird tone stacks. Nothing was... We had the Galapagos Island effect going on. So in other words, in Australia, we were doing our own thing entirely, versus, say, the US and the UK that were doing interesting stuff. There were companies that were doing kind of like clones or copies in a similar vein. So, for example, Enmore, a lot of their big, massive, ginormous heads that they had were in the same sort of vein of a Fender Twin or something like that. So they were using a very, very similar topology, very similar tone stack, very similar everything. Meanwhile, you had companies like Leonard, who he's actually still kicking around. The company's still going, John Burnett, and he does a bunch of hi-fi stuff these days. But the old stuff that he did back in the day was really, really, really wild. So these amps were designed for big and loud. They were running a quartet of EL34s, or 6CA7 specifically, at 800 volts on the plate to extract around 150 watts from a quartet of EL34s. It was insane. There were big, brash, loud things that were sold with 2 412 speakers, and they were absolutely kind of wild. Very unique sounding. And yeah, it was like one of those sorts of things where you had guys doing that, and then you had like a similar sort of deal from like M&R doing PA heads, and they had like, 6 EL34s or 6 EA7s with 800 volts on the plates doing like 200 and something watts out of them. And a lot of people were using them on like bass and PA and all that kind of stuff. We also had a lot of companies like Moody and similar that were doing weird things with whatever tubes were around. So like a 6GW8, which is a triode and pentode in a single envelope. So you'd use 2 of them, and one of them would have half of the phase inverter and half of the output stage, and the other one would have the other half of the phase inverter with the other half of the output stage. It was kind of cool. So this particular one is a Vetus 602 whatever. 2 channels, standard channel on that side, and then over this side we've got reverb and tremolo. So you're probably thinking, okay, so it's in the vein of like a deluxe reverb or something. No, it is very, very, very different. And we've got Mr. Dave Newman, who's working on a Moody 1012. I've got something similar here indeed, however it's a 1712, so that one there has the tremolo, no reverb, the 2 inputs and just a single tone control, and it is a wonderful looking amp. that sounds terrible. So that one does need some sort of major work to it because it is nothing more than mid-frequencies. There is no bass response, there is no treble. It's like somebody's taken an active EQ and just turned both them down and boosted the mids. It's not happy. So yeah. So with this one, one of the things about it is that it works, but the tremolo is doing weird stuff. We've also got ticking in the circuit, no matter how it is. So if you set the depth down but you turn the speed up, you're getting ticking still throughout the circuit. Also, the speed control is in reverse. So I get a feeling someone's replaced that pot at some point, put the wrong type in, or switched the wires around the wrong way. To return to what I was saying, in that this looks like it could be a deluxe reverb or similar type circuit, right? So you got like your one channel over here with volume, treble, and bass, and then this one with volume, treble, bass, reverb, speed, and depth. Key distinction and a key importance, however, is the EQ, these two knobs. This is a Baxandall turn circuit. A lot of Aussie amps used Baxandalls for some reason. I don't know why. I'm actually a big fan of them. I really do like them. They are a brilliant circuit using just the two knobs. They don't load down the signal quite so much, and they're really good for like a bit more of a neutral kind of response. The thing that works with the way that a Baxandall turn circuit works is, instead of, say for example, always having a bit of a mid scoop, and as you turn things up, the mid scoop just gets a little less. A Baxandall turn circuit, when it's at noon on both controls, will start out pretty well flat. It's a very, very flat response. It was designed for like hi-fi use. However, for example, if you turn both treble and bass up, it actually scoops the mids. So you end up with a bit more of like a traditional Fender style circuit. Turn it the opposite way, treble and bass down, and it actually boosts the mids. So it gives out like a boxy, gnarly kind of real heavily pushed kind of thing. So they're somewhat interactive and they work quite well. A famous pedal that actually uses a similar type of circuit is the Tech 21 SansAmp bass driver. Anyone who's ever worked one knows that when you read the manual, it says, okay, if you turn both of these up, it scoops the mid, turn them both down, it boosts the mid. Hallmarks of Baxandall. So if you've ever worked with one of those, you've probably had a chance to work with a Baxandall. So yeah, this is also kind of funny in that this one has the original foot switch still attached. Wonderful quality stuff. And yeah, like the amp itself, it's made out of chipboard. So surprisingly, this one's actually survived. Most all of them fall apart. But if we're like, look, take a little bit of a peek under the skirt here, we can actually see it's literally just a block of chipboard that's been sliced off into a wedge shape, 2 holes drilled into it, and a pair of switches in. That's it. Simple stuff. Somehow this one's managed to keep kicking on and keep working. Okay, let's get this thing flipped over. Let's take a look inside. All right. Rock and roll. Okay, so looking inside here, we can see another hallmark of Aussie designs. They're terribly dangerous. They are really, really poorly designed from a modern safety standard. So, for example, with something like this one here, there's normally a panel that goes on the rear to cover up all of what's there. So this one, in order to make it a bit safer, because we do have this exposed tag strip here, I will speak to the customer and let them know I'm going to have to create a panel to put over the back, just so inquiring fingers can't poke their fingers in there and make contact, because that hurts a lot. Inside of here as well, we've also got a split chassis. So we've got this section down here that does the output side of things, and then down the front, down the back there is the input chassis. So the input chassis is connected to the back half chassis here, and oftentimes, yep, this one is no different. I'll just quickly pull this out. What do we got here? That's an old Philips 7025 in that section. So kind of like organs and similar type things, they used octal socket connect to connect the front and the back there. Not the worst way of doing it, but obviously by today's kind of standards, a bit anachronistic, a bit kind of weird. Let's see, that there, that's cool. We've got a little bit of that there. Electrical tape, nice. So the thing I like about these is that you can see, if you look inside there, we've got designators. So you can see what they were. So 12AX7, 12AX7, 12AU7, 12AX7. This one on the front was a 12AX7, so it's probably using that for the phase inverter. Oh, there we go. Get in the hole. Come on. Ugh. Old, worn out bloody sockets. Nightmarish things they are. There we go. Oh, nice. Yeah, so that can go in there as well. So one would hazard a guess that the 12AU7 is handling reverb driver duties, because the 12AU7, like the 12AT7, is good for like current. That's why you tend to use them as opposed to a 12AX7 in the reverb stage, because you can drive the transformer a bit harder to get a little bit more signal on the other side. That's why Fender would use them as well on the phase inverter for these, because they could drive the tubes a bit more without having them clip so much. In the case of, say, for example, a Marshall, that's when they pulled that out and put a 12AX7 in there, adding some of that flavour to it. And then, of course, you get to like some of the big, massive amps back in the day that are using like a EL84 or even a 6L6 to drive current to the tubes to get them to push their weird stuff like the like some of the amp eggs, and then, of course, the Fender 400, the boat anchor of an amp that ever existed. Now, these are Aussie-made transformers that are actually quite nice. You know, we made good quality transformers. That was one good thing that we did do. So at least it's still got the original iron. Hopefully they're still in good condition. Got a pair of EL34s on the output. And if we look in the top there, we can see, of course, there's no room for anything to breathe. So eventually it's just scorched the top of the the cabinet there in all of its wonderful, glorious plyboard, not even ply, sorry, chipboard glory. So I'm going to give it a quick turn on, just to kind of show you what's going on there and what's happening in terms of how it's sounding. Now, I still don't have a the proper setup for what's the miking up of the mic over that side. I've still got to set that one up. Yeah, and if I go here, so I've got an 8 ohm and a 15 ohm, right? So we got separate ones there. According to the scrollings on the back, we have the output secondary windings are 8 ohm and 15 ohms. The primary is 207 ohms. That doesn't say too much because it's not really saying anything about the overall impedance of it. Says apparently it's approximately 30 watts at 8 ohms, which 30 watts from a pair of EL34s is well and truly underpowered. These were so there was no uniformity to Australian-made amps. You'd get two of them on different ends of the week, and they would sound very, very, very different. Also, another thing we have to do with this amp is replace the mains plug cable, because this is not safe, old stuff. Also, the Australian wiring code when it comes to plugs or anything else like that, we zoom in here, this certainly does not match, right? The thing I like about Australia and how we actually do things is we've basically almost since day one mandated an earth ground on our pins. There are certain devices that don't need them for whatever reason, but typically anything like this has to have that earth pin on there. But one thing that we do have on our power sockets and similar type things is if I grab one from here, there we go, this is a modern IEC cable, we actually have it so that the ground pin is obviously longer, but on top of that, you've also got a mandated insulating part on the pins there on the live and neutral. That means if little Jimmy pulls the plug out just a wee bit and you drop it down, it's not going to immediately short out or do anything like that. The UK also has a very similar plug going on there, which is brilliant. So it works out well. The one thing actually that is kind of a little bit smarter is that, for example, here in Australia, when you plug in the power plug, it's like that, right? So you've got your two pins facing upwards. In the UK, it's the other way around. Because if you do drop something down there or someone's going to reach from up top, the earth pin is going to be the one at top. So if something does fall down, it's going to bridge across the earth and neutral or the earth and the active and set off the RCD. Residual current device, which there's another name for it that you guys have over in the North America. I can't remember what you call it. But yeah, basically it's designed to trip when there's earth leakage between active or neutral and the earth. So let's zoom back out of that. What do we got? Smack Jimmy's hand instead. No, no, no. We're not about corporal punishment here to children. However, you know, the old sort of joke goes that, you know, the whole thing with evolution and the likes is that, you know, the way it works is that, you know, little Timmy, who's not quite smart enough, who has enough marbles for lunch, takes himself out of the gene pool so that way his genes won't be passed on to the next generation. Alrighty. Alright. Power there, power there. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Reverb off. Volume down, volume down. Let us get some power. I know that this thing powers up and it tests okay on that front, so I don't have to worry about being too thing. Ground fault circuit interrupt. That's the one. That's what you call it. We call it an RCD here. Residual current device. Blah, blah, blah. Most outlets don't have trips, just near water sources. Yeah. Australia's a bit different. We have it for the entire house circuit because why wouldn't you? I mean, it's safer, it doesn't really cost a huge amount of money, and it might save a life. Especially when you've got things like dodgy power supplies coming from China or some such like that, where there is not enough isolation between the mains and the switch mode side and the DC, and if you're touching the wrong thing at the wrong place, and zzz, that's it. Bye-bye. Okay, let's get some power. Go. Rock and roll. All right. Power on. Grab the Telecaster of absolute death. The poor thing just wants to die. I picked this thing up many, many years ago from someone who basically absolutely destroyed it. Let's put it on here so you can see, right? Brace yourselves, it's bad. This is... That's wild. There we go. Sharp. Go away. Hush you. Cool. Alright. So, alright, so what we've got is we've got this here. This is the workshop guitar that someone owned prior to me. This is the 94 Mexican Standard Telecaster that has been attacked with a blowtorch, attacked with a belt stander, had the bridge replaced with this thing, had the body completely attacked with like a screwdriver or something to just chisel out enough wood there to fit it, and they went too far over this side. It has in the bridge Seymour Duncan, I think it's a Screaming Demon I put in there because I just had one floating around. The neck pickup is a stock one that I've removed the cover from. I hate Telecaster neck pickups, but I need something for doing neck pickup tests. A pair of random knobs I just happened to find in the drawer and that. And yeah, it has been beaten up, destroyed, dropped, full. I don't care. This thing falls over and I just use it and keep using it non-stop. The back half is just as bad. There we go. That's some quality relicking there, chaps. Absolutely beautiful. Notice how the ferrules on the back aren't straight. So these guitars, the Mexican Standard Series in the 90s, didn't actually have a string-through body setup. They were top-load. And yeah, this is the guy did it. It didn't actually put the holes through the body straight, and so the ferrules actually overlap. And then, of course, you know, me being the weeb that I was when I got this guitar, I decided to put my name there in kanji. Not really my name, but you know, it's the kanji for the number 6 because why not? Yeah, so this guitar has been beaten the hell up, but I tell you what, I actually really like it. It plays well. I drop this thing every single week, like in the most literal sense. Because I don't actually have a hook on the wall. I really need to do it, but I've got no space. My bench is terrible. I've got no space out back here. So yeah, so this guitar just gets absolutely abused and hammered, and yeah, it's absolutely wild. Yeah, so this is what I use to test stuff with. So when you hear anything of that, it's usually with this guitar. Yeah, I actually had to go through and like on this top edge here, I actually had to sand it a bit further because the paint, the lacquer on this is so thick. It is like literally like oh God, like 25 thou thick or something. It's absolutely insane. So I had to sand it off to get rid of those sharp edges. And this is actually one where you can see where they started using like scrap wood for the bodies, because you've got an actual laminate on top there. So the laminate is put over the top so that it hides the end grain, which if you peel off the end of the wood there, you'll actually see how many chunks it is. Yeah. But enough of that. Let us see how this thing sounds. So it is currently switched on. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is humming like mad. You hear that? Probably not, because I got the Watsy. Yeah, so this one is humming like absolute mad with nothing plugged in. So it could be the jacks aren't connecting to ground, which is a bit of a pain in the butt as well. But nothing's plugged in right now, right? I'm going to plug into input 1 over here. Let's get a bit of volume. So it works. It does okay. Cool. Does what it needs to do. This is where you're obviously not going to hear it all too well here because of the fact that I haven't got it mic'd up properly. Soon I will have that sorted. I'm getting a wonderful desk from Yamaha to be able to do that. I gotta say, there's more Canucks here than when I went to school in New Zealand. I don't know why, but in New Zealand there are a lot of Canadians there, and I had like 3 Canadian teachers in what they call intermediate school, which is like the equivalent of minimum. Yes. All right, let's turn off noise suppression for a sec. That there. Filters. Noise suppression off. All right, let's see how we go now. So yeah, so noise floor is volume down on the guitar, so it's ground at its input. And you can probably hear, actually I'll take this off, because I can take it off now. So not exactly the quietest, unfortunately. But, it's an Aussie amp. I'm not going to go through and do 5 million things just to prep it for sale. But yeah, it is going a little bit funky there. Yeah, New Zealand was pretty cool. Never got a chance to go snowboarding because I'm poor. I will go one day because I did used to love skating when I was younger. It was good fun. So yeah, so EQ works okay. Treble up, treble down, in the middle, bass up. There we go. If we turn them both up, very, very sort of like scoopy type sound. And then if we turn them both down, we get a lot of mid-range. Cool. So there's not much really going on there. I'll check out those the input jacks on that. Now over on the tremolo channel, that's where we're getting the real kind of the fun stuff going on. Let's close that out. All right, it's a little bit there. So much like most amps that have a reverb or trem or similar type things, you end up with more gain. So you've got another stage in there and all that stuff, a recovery stage for the reverb. So turning it up, you get a bit more oomph behind there. Hey, Brad, you hit my first ever super chat. Thank you muchly, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I've officially made it big time. Cuckoo Geekook. Yes, indeed, I am doing more videos. I will do a lot more because I kind of need to with everything that's going on. I need people to know that I exist. I need people to come here to see my shop and to buy things, and because I'm pivoting more of how the business goes. So changing away from a lot of the new stuff, going into secondhand for a while only, and then I will pick up at some point some, you know, boutique brands and boutique stuff, because I'm here in the centre of Sydney, right in the heart of the music side of things. There's not really much around. But yeah, so back to what I was saying about this input. We test it. Not too bad. Treble does its thing. Bass up as well. So yeah, it's almost like kind of honky. It's kind of weird how it does it. Both of them down. Yeah, just turn it back up to normal. There we go. Reverb. Yep, it does the thing. Let's get a little bit of what's he going on. There we go. So it's not a very deep reverb. Very loud one though. So I get a lot of hum from it. So once again. System of a Down aerials. Yeah, I did used to play that years and years ago from doing the whole you know, various covers things and yada yada yada. Wait, how's it go? Of course, the key as well is to play it down near the bridge. So that reverb is as noisy as anything, right? We kill it there. Yep, jack's a bit funky. Now, I've got the tremolo off, right? So the tremolo is currently not doing anything, right? But, right, tremolo is off. Now, if I take off my little mic here, and I put that over there, take a listen to what happens as I turn speed up. That shouldn't be doing that. So tremolo is currently off. That oscillator should not be doing anything at all, right? But it is. Turn the trem on. It is a nice sounding trem. It does work very well. However, it goes really quite deep. Turn the speed up. And you start getting terrible ticking and more humming. So once we get past anything up past halfway on the speed control, it goes a bit funky. Turn it down. There it goes again. I could do a industrial tribute band. Depth control doesn't do boo diddly to it. There we go. Oh, some random person is calling me. Who is calling me? Leave a voicemail. I'll deal with it later. Yeah, it is good, but some people like to do the really, really quickly kind of. So it sounds like that's going way into cutoff. Yeah. I assume with this being 30 watts from a pair of 30 watts from a pair of EL34s, you're right, it probably is biased. So there's probably no low pass filter on this. This has had absolutely zero work done to it that I know of. However, as with anything, there's bound to have been more than a handful of techs in it over the years that have treated it less kindly than it kind of needs to be. But yeah, so this one has funky trem stuff going on, weird. It probably is the caps that are going bad, and it's probably could be something to do with the bias as well in the output, because that's kind of clicking so hard as well that it sounds like it's pushing it right, like past cutoff type thing. The other Moody the other one I've got, which is the Moody, the Vibrolux 1712. That one also, as you turn the reverb, turn the trem up, the whole speaker starts going because there is no there's no high pass filter on that trem. So what's happening is that low frequency manifests itself through the output, making the speaker move crazy. So if you look on like a Vox AC30 or similar cathode biased amp that has trem on there, it's got that high pass filter on there to get rid of that component, so that it will change the bias of the circuit but won't allow it to, you know, push itself through well enough. Okey-dokey. So let's pull this apart, hopefully without zapping myself, because these things are not safe generally. There's probably not going to be anything on the what's his side of things that not going to be anything on the you know what I mean, brain work on the caps. There's not going to be anything for the bleed. Okay, okey-dokey. Magic stick. Magic stick always comes in handy. So as they say, I fabricated this from a bigger spoon myself. This one is, come on, there we go. See, I have autofocus that works. Yeah, so this is a 10K 5-watt resistor. That is a random piece of metal or nail or something that I had, and I've sharpened it down to a point, soldered that resistor onto it, covered it in multiple layers of adhesive, good quality shrink wrap and that. On the other end, attached a crocodile clip, so I can attach that to the chassis, connect it to anything, and drain resistors without having to worry about it sparking or doing anything crazy, like one of our tech friends who did a similar type thing very recently, but had some gas that was still floating around, some accelerant, and was shorting out a cap and went big fireball, big terrifying stuff. Alright, so I assume that is going to be, yeah, that's going to be the transformer section there of some sort. So what I can do is if I pull this out, I'll connect it to pin 1, I can drain it all that way. Okay. Drain, drain, drain. Maybe I'll just in case. Drain, drain, drain. Okay. Sweet. That goes there, that goes there. Let me just confirm that I'm not going to kill myself. Got to be very, very careful with these old Aussie-made amps, because, yeah, the potential for getting sent across the room is more than most people tend to realise. Okay, let's just check on there. Yep, that's why I go to DC, not AC, duh. So I've got 3 volts on that one. Negative there. Let's check there. Nope, we're good. We're good. Cool. Excellent. I see. So you've got Stockholm syndrome now. Is that probably the most succinct way of putting it? All right. So that's the foot switch using 5-pin DIN. Not the worst way of doing it. So that's going to be shielded for the reverb and all the rest of that as well. Actually, is that shielded? How is that? Yeah. So that's shielded, which is good. Maybe I should make my cam bigger, in case. Nobody needs to see me. I'm actually doing the setting everything up at the moment to have it make it look a little bit nicer. I've got a third camera that I'll be integrating as well because, you know, hooray for being an absolute snob that I am and being a Mac user and an iPhone user. I can use my iPhone as a camera on this without having to worry about an external capture device. But right now, my current setup is the overhead cam is a overhead cam is a Canon XA50, which is, you know, good quality, sort of, you know, pro level camcorder. Picked that up because it worked really, really well. And then my sort of big camera that I have when I do like handheld video or stuff like that, or if I want to do like proper like video, is a Sony Alpha 7 IV, which looks like, come hither, looks like that, big bad Mama Jamma. So that one works well. Yeah, there was a video of Gerald, I think it was Gerald Weber or one of those guys. Yeah, Gerald Weber, I think it was. There was an outtake from a video that he did where he was like doing work on a twin reverb or something. I've been trying to find it again on YouTube, and he reaches inside the amp and he touches something and he gets shocked. He's but yeah, back to what I was saying. So that's the camera for you know, doing all the handheld stuff and all the rest of that, and for doing my random photography and bits and bobs. I used to have a lot more camera gear back in the past because I used to be a professional photographer and did some videography work and that. I owned a photo booth company. All got damaged in flooding a couple of years ago. Got paid out, did all that, and then made the jump from Canon to Sony. But this thing is this is the one that you see when I do like the fixed angle videos and the sort of more planned prepare type ones. The bench one is just the the Canon XA50 because it works well and does what it does. And yeah, the camera that you see me on is just the webcam from my MacBook Pro. So I've got a I got a MacBook Pro 16-inch, one of the first gen ones with the M1 Ultra chips. Ultra? Max? I don't know. Yeah, M1 Max. Basically top tier spec'd it out. The missus works for Apple, so got a good deal on it. Basically got it for half price. And that will last me for a number of years. Believe me, I've considered flogging everything and moving to Sony, but I like to piss with the cock I got. Yeah, I can't. I want to try and make things as easy as I can for myself. I don't know. I'm overdoing the punk rock thing these days. I just want shit to work. That's why I went to Apple for a lot of stuff. And yeah. What do we got? What cam do I use for OnlyFans? Actually, it was that Sony one there that I used to do all that with. I actually did use it the other week for a let's just say an event that I was shooting to help some friends, and yeah, it was interesting. Okay, I need a flathead that's going to fit in that really tight spot. What a pain in the ass. Seriously. Ugh, like, look at that. They got like this a flathead right there. I might just be able to get in. Yes, good. Oh, come on, get there. So yeah, we've now gotten to a point now on the channel, thankfully, courtesy of some people helping push the numbers over. But yeah, I now can make a few dollars out of this. Still not enough hours to actually do full monetization, which is a bummer, but hopefully soon. So pretty much the plan is to pump out some more videos, to do all that kind of stuff. I've got a couple of vids in the workflow pipeline that will hopefully allow me to get those hours up. I'm going to do a little bit more kind of talking head stuff as well. So I'll probably be putting out a request at some point soon for people to like ask questions, things I can answer. People who aren't techie, people who are techie, it doesn't matter. Just to answer things, because there is so much misinformation out online. Like, just Facebook groups, man. Seriously, Facebook groups. They're just awful. And it's not just the guitar ones either. It's like the synth ones, the hi-fi ones, all of that. There's some stuff that, yeah, you've got an opinion. Okay, cool. You know, you like chocolate, I like vanilla. Sweet. You know. I think that EMGs sound perfectly fine. You think they're the devil. Rock and roll, whatever. But there are some things that are just they're fact. You know, there is nothing else about it. It is just here is science, here is the truth, here is how things work. And of course this is going to be one of those annoying bloody bastards that is going to try and jump out at me afterwards. Okay, let's get that out of the way first. Okay, cool. Yep. Sweet. Yeah, so I want to do a little bit more info out there. You know, trying to get rid of some stupid like myths and things that people say that just aren't true. That, you know, I did it when I was younger, trying to chase that extra 0.1% better in tone, but still coming back to pretty much the same thing most of the time. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who put random shit online that's just not true, not even in the slightest way. You know, there was someone who was posting up the other day in one of the groups about caps or something. You know, it's like, all right, cool, you know, here's some caps. It's like, which ones are the best ones? It's like, well, the ones that are suitable for purpose. You take the caps, you put them in, do they work? Sweet. Are they suitable for purpose? Yes. Paying extra money for it to look like a fancy, you know, vintage cap or something like that, or have some logo on the outside, doesn't mean anything. You know. Correct the people on the pedal ones sometimes. Got some expert pedal builders tell you people, a vintage Mistress uses an AC supply and other nonsense. Oh, God, seriously. I have converted a bunch of old electric Mistresses and memory mans and stuff like that to 240, to standard voltage operation. Most of them just run on a standard single rail, so you can just run them on an 18-volt supply and step it down internally. There's a couple of weird ones that use, dual rail supplies. Okay, cool, use an LT1054 setup. Bam, done. I don't like active pickups because I'm too lazy to keep 9-volt batteries around. You know what? I change the batteries in my guitars once a year. That's it. I always have a 9-volt battery around, inevitably, because they're used in, God, just so many things. Well, I only usually say something when someone says something wrong, outright wrong, that will cause damage to someone else's expensive gear. Oh, yeah. There are a bunch of guys out there like that will say some incredibly stupid things that will potentially put stuff in danger, that will potentially end up with problems going on there. I don't like when people mess up other people's gear because they think that they have the answer, but they don't, you know? Yeah, exactly. The Deluxe uses AC, but standard thing. It was in the 70s. You didn't have access to like reliable, good quality, external power supplies easily that could handle enough current for it. You know, it wasn't until like the late 70s, early 80s that you started getting those things. And even then, that's why you had companies like Boss/Roland put, a regulating Zener in the input side and run 12 volt, because a 12 volt supply, you get enough current to run these high current pedals that were pulling like 40 or 50 milliamps. That was it, totally. But yeah, I've done a couple of old school things. I've got some PCBs I did way back when that were for dual voltage rails on pedals where they would need be. Haven't done them in ages though, so I actually just buy the ones from CE now. Get a pair of them, put them in there. Done. Should right as rain. Some people post a wrong answer or statement for something they don't know on purpose to force a reply from people on the forums. People are more willing to try and correct wrong answers. Yes, there is a name for that phenomenon, and it is going to drive me insane thinking what it is, and I can't be bothered reaching over to do a Google search for it. And there's the classic example of it online where it's like, it's Murphy's Law. If you post the wrong thing online, someone will jump on to give you the right answer. Of course, that being there. Yeah, like seriously, high current devices, like especially DSP based ones, digital pedals like reverbs and similar type stuff, those chips pull huge current. And then you end up with all these big massive power supplies that people use. And trying to explain to people, no, you cannot use just like a random bloody, single wall wart power supply to power like these 3 big massive reverb and delay pedals and looper pedals. All you're going to get is noise, just constant noise. All right, so first half of the chassis is out. Come on. All right, good quality Aussie made amp, of course. The screw head is underneath the foot. Nice. So first up we have here, oh, that is a replacement transformer. Right, look at that. I'm going to slide this over a little bit more. Okay, so this amp has been modified or some such at some point in the past. In we go, zoomy, zoomy, zoom. Alright, so someone has worked on this amp previously because that transformer there is made by Special Transformers Proprietary Limited. I have no idea who they are, and that is from 1998. So that's way after when this would have been made. Fits in the same sort of, footprint, so I wonder, do they still exist? I don't know, I'll have to Google it and check it out. So we've got here, what is it? They've tried putting some, what's in there, markers on the fly leads to say, what they are, but they haven't really kind of done a good job of that. Alrighty, so what we got? That's a 5-volt tap, so rectifier tap. What's that, green? What's the green? Green is tapped off, so green is HT something? I can't even read that. What is it? Not. I can't understand what they're saying. I know, right? Yeah, that's some quality work. And of course, I can just reach in from the outside of the amp as well, so doo-doo-doo-doo, hello. Right, so if we take a look here, inside of the section of the amp that we've got here, there we go, get my pokey stick. What do we have? We have a replacement transformer that hasn't been done oh so well. This is the connection for to the front half of the unit, which I think is for the power switch. Yep, there we go. So that's for, come here. That's for the power switch, connects to the front. That's a tap for a 5-volt rectifier. Doesn't have one anymore. Good quality, really good quality rectifier there. It's spec, it's got enough power. However, of all the things you could have done to put it like that, that's, nah man, no. What would have been better, realistically, in something like this, is I probably would have just used these tag strips here, and I would have just put diodes. Put a couple of good quality diodes in there. It's not going to be a huge amount of an issue. It's only the center tabs that are connected the way they are. Run them across, the way that they would be. Swings and roundabouts. This is a bit hazardous. Those are just tacked on there, so it's not ideal. Yeah, so I will probably have to go about replacing that mainly just for safety's sake, honestly. So we got some 24 at 500 caps by Elna. So these are Japanese-made caps, pretty good quality, but they're due for replacement. This is also a similar sort of deal, and oh, would you look at that? All right, let's see if we can move that out of the way there. Bring it down here thusly. Let's see what happens if we zoom in a bit further. We don't need no macro lens for this. There we go. Right about there. So if we just scooch that out of the way a little wee bit, rotate it around. All right. Cool. That one's starting to pop. So that's bad. One's bad, they're all bad. Out they come, we'll put some new ones in. simple. I've got plenty of caps on hand to do that. Shouldn't be the hardest of jobs to do, but that would probably be contributing to that ticking in the tremolo oscillator and a bunch of that extra noise as well. Now, looking over here at the circuit, so we've got the two sockets there. Good quality 100 microfarad, 100 volt cap by Jamicon. Not the worst things in the world, but certainly not ideal. What do we got here? That's pin 8. Pin 8 there, tied to ground. So we've got our bypass cap there, and we've also got a 220 ohm resistor there. So this is indeed a cathode bypassed amp. That would explain why it has such a low output power. 30 watts from a pair of EL34s, really, really bad. I bet it had a tube rectifier. You know what? I don't think it did. I think this would have originally had solid state rectifier, because I can see where there's been some stuff that's been desoldered off of the tabs there. Like I said, Australian amps were really, really stupid. No two were ever alike, and the closest we ever had to them being like a real ongoing concern that were making things regularly the same sort of value is Golden Tone. They were kind of like the closest in that regards. Schematics exist, there were like proper models, not huge numbers of them made, but they were kind of there. So this probably was originally in its earliest run. The 602 would have been a tube rectified model, or they would have used this chassis for another model as well. This one has obviously been repaired, had a bridge rectifier put in, would have had diodes there. That's Cunningham's Law. That's the one. Cunningham's Law is brilliant. I love it. Yeah, so they're going to have to come out. That's going to have to be fixed up, replaced with some better quality ones. What do we got? That is output there. That is also output. So we got a cap there as well. The good thing about Australian amps is we weren't really using like carbon comp or anything like that. Most everything was carbon film at this point, so less likely to drift and go really, really bad. It's a customer amp that's on sale for, for consignment. So I can't do a huge amount of work to it. Make it safe, make it ready for sale, that will justify the price that we'll end up listing it at. Someone who buys it and they want to have it all done, the option is there. Contact us, pay the money, and I'll rebuild the thing from top to bottom to make it schmick and ideal. But yeah, for this being as it is, the customer's obviously going to want maximum money. I like maximum money too, but I also like to be fair to someone who's going to buy it and make sure they're not getting something that's a complete hunk of junk. As long as it is safe and as long as it works and it sounds reasonable, cool. You want longevity, you want it to be the best sounding that it can, awesome. Pay the extra amount of money and we'll rebuild it. You'll never recoup the cost on it though, because Aussie amps, they're cool, they don't sell for much. Certain esoteric models will sell for a bit, but on the whole, they are worth next to nothing. It's like over in Canada, how back in the day you had to train a YBA1s or whatever else and all that would go for a song. Australian amps are still like that to this day. So they've not reached a point where people go, oh, I have to have that because this XYZ player used them. Most of the players who use these kind of amps are dead. Most of the people who listen to this kind of music are no longer gigging anymore because their herniated sciatica is completely shot. So they're not carrying amps around anymore. They're retiring now and sitting back, living off the money of their 4 investment properties they bought back in the day on like an apprentice's wage. I'm not mad, I swear. So what we have is, that's not ideal. Yeah, so we've basically got amps that aren't worth a huge amount of money, that sound kind of odd, that are very unique. Some young players like them because they're kind of like hipstery cred type thing. Kind of like how people in the US like the old Airline and Supro amps and stuff like that. Yeah, because Jack White or various others used them and they were unique and interesting, but they still sucked. Aussie amps, same sort of deal, but even worse. Come on, oh my god. Unfortunately, as they age as well, because there is so much heat damage and stuff on the Tolex, it all ends up constantly folding over and getting right in the damn way. Ah, come on. There we go. Gotta flex everything out of the way. Awesome. Alright. So we got ourselves a Philips 7025. Oh yeah! That's what I'm talking about. AWA Super Radiotron, made in Australia. We actually did make some okay tubes. Especially because AWA is a company that's still going to this day, but for example, broad sweeping generalizations about things, I'm out. My friend here has never heard of hyperbole. Had a similar conversation with someone online as well, just recently, about that kind of thing, and they were like, oh, you don't make broad generalizations about things, it's bad for people. It's called humor. Don't take things so seriously. You know, there's a reason why none of these companies exist anymore, is because, you know, it was, they were terribly made, they were weird, they were odd, they, you know, when we opened up and suddenly we could import stuff that was still more expensive, the companies didn't survive because the product was inferior for the most part. But yeah, this is an old AWA Super Radiotron made in Australia. So, you know, what have we made here? AWA is still around. They're still, you know, kicking around. So, for example, over in the US or similar, you guys have the RCA, sorry, not the RCA, the Radiotron Designer's Handbook. That was written in Australia, published originally by AWA, by a gentleman who was actually working for the company. So he wrote the book that helped to create companies like Fender, because that was the book that Leo Fender, you know, one of them that he would refer to. Another US Philips 7025. And one more, another 7025. I wonder can I decipher the date codes on these? Potentially. Okay. And we go out that way thusly. And we plonk this thing down. Alright. Let's get this head shell out of the way. Like so. There. Alright. Nice. So here we have inside of this, you know, inside of the preamp side of things. Very, very lightweight. It's just made out of a folded over piece of steel, galvanized, I think, or something. That's plated. Something or other. Yeah, so we've got another one of those Elna caps in there. Ooh, a little daddy long legs. Yeah, my crazy, you know, autistic superpower is that I remember infinite amounts of random crap. And my hyper fixation and my, you know, big main interest is musical instruments and equipment and that kind of stuff. So when I read things and learn about stuff, it sticks in my brain. It just kind of hangs around. So yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, look, broad sweeping generalizations and similar things. Sometimes they can be played up for comedic effect. It's cool. You know, for example, there's the classic. You know, there's the classic sort of observation here in Australia. Anyone who has the word family tattooed on their neck has a 100% chance of being a DV offender. The joke, of course, being that a lot of those people who say they have family tattooed on the outside are of an unsavory sort. It is a broad sweeping generalization that is played up for comedic effect. It is also very different to say, for example, a racial stereotype or a stereotype of a misogynistic type of thing or something like that. It is a softball funny thing, in the same way that we would turn around and say, you know, the Yanks are terrible tourists. They will go everywhere and raise hell and make it uncomfortable for people. Or that Aussies are a bunch of loudmouth swearing people that are completely uncouth and we're all descendant from a bunch of, you know, convicts. Or that the Brits are constantly whining and whinging about things. Or that the French are cheese-eating surrender monkeys. you know, or the guitarists are like, you know, so hyper fixated on the tone so that three people in the audience can sit around and go, yeah, that really does make the song better. Or bass players, they're too busy going out there and getting another bloody, you know, ounce of weed to change their bass strings and go, no man, the tone's just fine. Or drummers, you know the stage is level when you've got drool coming out of both sides of their mouth. It's funny. You know, people who want to take things too seriously, cool, go for gold. Australia isn't real. Well, I mean, you're kind of not wrong. Wait a minute, what's going on here? No. Let me just check something. Go away. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Alright, am I still on? Because I think my internet may have just died, which would be real annoying if it did. Nope, that's still kicking on. All good. Drop bears are deadly, especially... Alright. Uncle Six's story time now. When I was in Japan last time, we were there with my mates, and we hit up this this little cocktail bar type thing in Osaka. We went in there, and we were just drinking and all that, and there was a bunch of like old Japanese salarymen there, and they could speak English, and you know, they were asking, oh, where we were from and that. Oh, I'm from Australia. And they were asking about, oh, is it very dangerous there? And I'm like, yeah, we have these things. You've got to be real careful. If you come to Australia and you go visit and you go outside of the cities, watch out for drop bears. They look really cute, but those things, they will just, they camouflage into the trees, and then they'll drop down, and they will attack you. They will, and they've got this terrible, nasty... And I went on for about a good 5 to 7 minutes while my mates were standing there holding it in, trying not to absolutely lose their shit. And these Japanese businessmen were like, really? They would... I'll turn around and say, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. It's a joke that we do. People think Australia is very terrifying, and they just cracked up laughing because they thought I was being genuine and serious about that. But no, it was good fun. Yeah. Japanese salarymen are one of those kinds of people that you go out there, you start drinking with them, and yeah, they turn out to be interesting type of folks. All right, back to the bench. Stop talking. Okay, so what do we got? We have that cap there, which is also bulging. That's going to be flicked out. Get rid of it. That is a 100 microfarad, 50 volt cap. Yep, floating around. What's this one? This is 22 at... Oh, come on, show me. 22 at 63, so that's a bypass cap on that as well. Okay, so what I'm thinking is a couple of new caps, clean out the pots. I will probably have to replace the jacks because they're a little bit on the funky side. Maybe I might just burnish them, but maybe not. Look, if you look here too. All right, so this is a bent over sheet of steel on the jack. That's actually been soldered to the ground connections on that section there, probably to provide a little bit of shielding from that section over there, but it also could be to just stop someone from actually sticking something through the hole there and making contact with high voltage, because it's kind of right there. Can you distract them with Lamingtons? Nah, mate, it's got to be Vegemite. It's the only thing that'll do it. Zoom back out. Alright, the good thing is with pretty much most of the components in the amps is that the old mustards in here, unless they're really cracked, they're not going to start leaking. They're actually going to be pretty solid, which is good. Pots are all in good location. That one's obviously being replaced at some point. Not of the greatest job, unfortunately. So I'll probably touch that up. Zoom, 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 zoom. Over we go. So we can see it's a bit of a mess on the solder side. Looks a little underdid there. They seem okay. That one's been replaced. That one has also been replaced. And one more over here has actually been replaced. So we've got 3 pots that have been replaced. The reason why I can tell that they've been replaced is because that's a CTS. CTS pots weren't used in Aussie amps. That's an alpha, and that's an alpha. Alpha long after when these were made. Alright. Let's fire up the soldering iron. Let's get some caps changed out. So while waiting for that to heat up and such, you know, let's actually take a look. How many people here? I can't actually see. What have we got? 21 viewers. My word. I mean, if there's 20 people here, I have 13 likes. Could I be ever so bold as to ask y'all to hit the like button? Even the dislike button. You know, if you think that I'm talking shit. Come on. Okay, I'm back. Of course, I managed to lose bloody half my viewers on... Damn it! Seriously. The moment things have to, like, start doing what they're doing, the moment everything dies. Oh, man, my head hurts. Man. Right. Well, that just killed the momentum of that, but I'm still going to keep going just for the hell of it. How... that is... Alright. So. Okay, let's get these caps out and put some new ones in there. That's heated up over there. Yeah, my internet just decided, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to stop right now. Right as I'm literally saying, you know, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. I don't care. If you hit the dislike button, then guess what? It gets me the same amount of, you know, input on the YouTube algorithm as the like button. That's why sometimes farming for hate is quite good. Some people may not necessarily like what I do, but that's okay. It's okay. As long as you tell me you don't like it, then I can continue on and hopefully make some money out of this. Okay, into the parts bins, I need 22, 33, 47. There we go, 22s. All right. 22, 22, 22. All right. That's 22, that's 22, that is 22, and that is also 22. Cool. Ah, good, the number's coming back up. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, let's dispel a little bit of a myth here, right? Just a wee bit. Not all IC caps are bad, okay? I've covered this previously on various streams, but in case you haven't seen it or you haven't heard the news, not all of them are terrible. They're used in countless brand products out there and about. What's terrible are the ones that are used in, for example, the Fender amps, where they spec them out to be the cheapest, worst quality ones that you can possibly get, right? We're talking they'll cut a few cents off of each part just to get them under that price point, because when you make 1,000 amps a month, and you save a couple of cents on a dozen parts across an amp, that all adds up over a year. So, I do have IC caps on hand that I use in amps like this, where people just want the budget option that works well, because it does, they do the job. These are still 500 volt rated, they're good quality, they'll do what they need to do. Change them within the next 10 years, they'll be fine. For example, PV amps, right? PV amps also use IC caps. Eventually they start leaking their guts, but it's usually after like 10 years. It's not after like 3 or 4 or a couple of years or something. PV Classic 30s, prime example. You know, they're a bit of a nightmare to remove, but they use, you know, the IC caps as well. Oh, itchy nose. Okay, so let us start with this one here. All right, get that, a little bit of power there. And because this is some ancient solder, what we're going to do is we want to first kind of remind it that it is indeed solder. Add a little bit of good quality multi-core on there. The flux will help break it down a bit too. A little bit there. Alright, so that's wrapped. No, that's not even wrapped around. Huh, what do you know? Test 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Why did that go into the red for the moment? That was weird. Did I like hit it or something? I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever, man. Cool. Sometimes I still use an old-fashioned solder pullet because it's just a little bit easier rather than having to go through a bunch of filters and stuff on the the Hacko that I successfully brought back to life. I managed to find some filters and parts for it in New Zealand. Sorry, not filters, the heating elements. The heating element on it was died, got blocked up, so... There we go. So that's just a big massive old blob. Come on, let go. Thank you. There we go. Excellent. All right. I'll remove this excess solder. Go. Sweet. So the good thing about the solder is that at least it's kind of plated the connection there, so I can still reattach a cap to it. Not going to have to worry about it too much not going on. If I was soldering to like one of the tabs on here that hadn't been used, not a chance in hell. I'd have to get the Dremel wire wheel out and do it, and it's just easier just to replace the entire strip. Far simpler. Doop, boop, 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 that one there. Cool. Okay, how's this one looking? A little bit more there. Okay. Come on, there we go. So that was even, like, that was tacked on. There was no mechanical connection on that there. And this is a big, hefty boy of a cap. So not exactly the simplest of things. So yeah, so that wouldn't have boded well for general reliability over the many years that this has been around. Come on, heat up. A lot of mass there. Excellent. That should give me a little bit of space in that. Yeah, that little dude there, he's just chilling. He's fine. See? He's okay. He can be my new little mascot. I'll put him up here on the shelf. There we go. Don't think I want to burn him because I can't imagine the smell of a dead relative of the arachnid family being an all too pleasant experience. Okay. This is one of those classic examples as well, as where people say, oh, the old stuff was better made back then, it lasted longer, it does better stuff. I mean, look at the size difference between these two. 500, 500. Like, the diameter, the everything, they are just completely different in terms of how they're made. Technology's progressed, material sciences, chemical sciences have gotten so much better to the point where now something like this is entirely possible. It wasn't before. We get better yields, tighter tolerances, longer lasting life typically. Some of the old caps kept going on and on and on, and some of these new ones will keep going on and on and on. But now we know how long they're going to last. Old caps like those ones there, Leo put them inside of the doghouse on the, like the amps they started doing after the tweed ones, so they were easier to replace. He knew that they weren't going to last forever. They were going to be around for a while, and then they were going to go. Okay, let's get that into that little hole like so. All right. Now, I'm not going to wrap this 5 million times around. I'm just going to put it one turn. That's it. Enough to basically give us some mechanical strength on that. The worst thing you can do is like wrap it around like 3 or 4 times. Like, no, just give it enough. Give it enough for mechanical reliability. Like that. Excellent. So it's not going to go anywhere. So if we zoom in a little bit there, right? All I've done is given it, just a little bit more, like 270 degrees-ish, that kind of thing. That'll give us enough mechanical strength to be able to hold it in place And it means that the next time somebody has to replace one of these, they're not going to have to spend ages cutting away material and hoping they don't overheat components or whatever else around there. I was working on something the other day where, I kid you not, the cable on a jack, I think it was wrapped around so many times that I just replaced the whole jack. It was just easier than having to try and fight that and desolder this and remove that and just make it a little bit easier for people, you know? Cool. Excellent. Trim that off like so. Nice. Into the bin for that one. And do the same over here. Cool. All right. Go. Cap 1 done. Now, see the other ones up here. That's still looking like it's pretty well fine. Just going to quickly check. Hey, these old ceramic resistors are usually pretty good for holding their tolerances, so I don't think that's going to have changed all too much. Yep, 2.7K. Pretty well spot on, which is nice. Alright, so they're looking fine. That's looking okay. 33 microfarad down the bottom. Hitano. So this person, whoever worked on it last time, has done the J car repairs, right? So they've gone through, and what they've done is basically gone, yep, cool, go to J car, get the cheapest bits that I can. There we go. Make sure it's pointing in the right direction. Sweet. So rather than going to like a Mauser or a DigiKey or even like a Wagner, we're here in Australia, so Wagner, Wes, they've gone for the cheaper stuff. They're not good caps, and they're like twice as much as if you get them from a proper supplier. Yeah, so in saying that, brand name stuff, always going to be a far better option. Far better option. Alright, let's move this chassis in the opposite direction. Bring that one here. Like so. Spaghetti wiring everywhere. Cool. Alright. So, we've got that and that there. So if I connect the ACs up to there, I could probably just go there. Yeah. That'll probably be an easy way of doing it. I don't like these kinds of connectors, but it is one that has been there since like day dot. I think. The original cable, but I don't know if that's the original grommet on there. I shall have to see. Also, this resistor is like flying way high up in the air. Probably a bit too high. Lay it down a bit. Maybe I'll remove it and shorten it down. But I'll also check what the bias is. I want to make sure that this isn't biasing way too crazy. You know, I'll probably bias it depending on what the voltage is and that. I'll probably bias it to around 70 or 80%, maybe. It's cathode bias, so you can push it a bit harder. It's not Class A, not by a long shot. But yeah, it's still cathode biased Class AB type amp. Let's get that one out first. Alright. A bit of heat there. Come on. Yep. So this one does have a little bit of actual mechanical connection on there, which is nice. Which is good. Sweet. Okay. Over there like so. Cool. Alright. So should... Ah, you bastard. Right. This is one of those ones that is an example of it being wrapped around so many times. So now I'm going to have to just... I'm just going to cut it out. That's it. You know, cut it out of the way like so. Let's see if I can get... How much extra is that on there? Yeah. Right. Yep. So now I've moved that out of the way a little bit. If I trim it thusly, that should allow me to get the remainder of it off there. There we go. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Excellent. All right. So that's connected to there. Leg bone's connected to the knee bone or something. I don't know. Come on. All right. How is this one connected? Oh, almost. Come on. No. Yep. So from there, I should be able to just trim that. And there. Cool. Come on. I know you're there. Come on. On you. There you come. There we go. Whew. That was less than pleasant. Stinks. Stinks to absolute high hell. Ancient old solder and flux and all that kind of wonderful jazz. I still don't have enough room in there. Alright. A little bit more. Cool. Yeah. Right. And there's another thing we need. That's a good thing we checked, because that resistor was just tack soldered on there. Wasn't even properly like connected or anything like that. Yay. Not everything that is old is good. It's all wrapped around so many times, like no space in that bloody eyelet. Can I push any of it out of the way now? So if I grab a little bit of the solder wick there. Alright. There we go. Alright. Hopefully get rid of some of that excess. Alright. So I've got just enough room now to actually fit that through. Excellent. How are we looking over on the other side? That one there, that one there. Cool. 17 views, 17 likes. Nice. I like that. I could say it's like a, what is it? What do the corpos say? Synergy? There we go. Ah, right. So, this is actually not a 22, it's a 16. Ah, hush you. Hit the wrong button. Yeah, so this is actually a 16 microfarad cap. So, I mean, I could bump it up to a 22. It's probably going to be about the same sort of ballpark. But let me just see if I do have a 16 in stock. Because I might. 25, 22, 22, 22, 22. That's also 22. What are these? 33, 100. They're knobs. Now, where's the one that I had of all the low value ones? I did have a bunch of like 8 microfarad and weird sort of valued ones. What's that? So that's 22 as well. What's those? Is that it? That's 33, 47. I need to properly arrange my workshop. Everything is everywhere. Okay, there we go. Alright, so what have I got here? That's a 10, 16. There we go. So I got a 16. I'll put the 16 in because that's what the circuit originally called for. If we wanted a little bit more filtration, we'll put 22 in there. Astrology angel numbers. Yeah, although, interesting thing, right? So the E6 and the E12, E24, E48 series, right? So they're the preferred series of numbers. Most common one that we use is like the E12 series, right? E12 for resistors and similar things, for example, is 100, 120, 150, 180, 220, 270, 330, 390, 470, 680, 820, right? So those are your 12 numbers there. The reason why those numbers are chosen is because if you take, for example, 100, right, and you multiply it by 10%, right, either direction, means that you'll end up with 1.1 or 0.9, right? So a 100 ohm resistor could be a 110 resistor, or it could be a 90 ohm resistor. So there's your 10% tolerance. What happens if we take, for example, the next number up in the series, 120, right? So from there, if we grab our 120, right, 120 times 0.9, well, then we end up with 108. If we take that 120 and we multiply it by 1.1, we end up with 132, right? If we take that 150, multiply it by 0.9, 135. Do you see where it comes in? Pretty much each one of those values is there because it gives you a range that you can manufacture those devices, manufacture the parts, and go, okay, cool. If it is within this 10% range of this value, it is going to be that. And there is a definitive line in between each one of those values, which is where that 10% plus or minus lies. That's why E6 values, so E6 capacitors, E6 resistors, or anything like that, are 20% tolerance because it's plus or minus 20%. E12, plus or minus 10%. E24, plus or minus 5%. Keep going upwards until you get to your 1% and your even smaller numbers, and that's why you get more and more numbers per thing, because it's dividing up each one of those acceptable tolerances smaller and smaller and smaller, which means each one of those devices that gets picked will be closer to those numbers there. That's what gives you those particular the particular numbers. So a little bit of a electronics fact for you, for those who may not necessarily have known. There was one of those things that was explained to me when I was at TAFE studying electronic engineering, and yeah, I was like, wait, why do we have these numbers? It's like, well, look at the math, look at how it adds up. It's like, oh, I see, that makes sense. Whereas back in the past, you had kind of like numbers that were somewhat random in how they were assigned. So you had like cap values you don't get anymore. So you don't get like 20. You don't get 20 microfarad caps anymore. You get 22 because that's part of that E6 series. In the past, you used to get 0.5 microfarad devices. Not anymore. It's 0.47. Okay, come on, give me enough space in there. Give me the room. Give me the room. Okay. So I don't have a huge amount of room to work inside of this, unfortunately. Come on. Get in there. Get in there. There we go. That's a tight squeeze. That's a very tight squeeze. Alright. Cool. Alright. Capacitor there. Let's pull it over. Get that in. Come on. There we go. Alright. Bend that over that way. And that one I want to do the same thing as well. People see in the back of my head there. Very exciting times, I know, very exciting image. If this weren't such an old amp, I probably would have just connected over to the next pin over on the terminal. Being as old as it is, though, there's just way too much corrosion on there. There's no way I'm going to be able to make a mechanically strong connection on there. Okay. Alright. So we're good there, that's the ground, that's there. Excellent. Cool. Alright, let's get some heat on there. Let's get some heat and some good quality solder. Alright. Ugh, God, that stinks. Old solder and old flux is the worst. It's just awful. Oh no, customers wanting to buy things. Heaven forbid. I wish I knew what that was like these days. Seriously. It has been like, man, so quiet the last couple of months. Nobody's got money for stuff, unfortunately, because we're all being hammered. Especially around this way. Mortgages are massive. You missed my rant on the explanation of why the E6, the E12, and the E24 series exists and how it relates to the tolerances of them typically. So it's all right. I'm sure you know about it. You know more than me on most of those matters. Wow. I got into the electronics game very, very late. I got into it like, in my 20s. I had like a passing interest in electronics as a kid, but it wasn't my main kind of thing. Being poor, I didn't have access to any of those things. I didn't have access to like electronics magazines or, the fun way into electronics kits or anything. I was just, I just did what I did. I don't know nothing. What do we become now? Tight lips? Tell me, where'd you get shot? I ain't saying nothing. Come on, man, I gotta help you. Suck a lemon. All right. Cool. So we've got that one there. I need to put in one more thing on that end. All right. And we've got the ground connection on that one sorted. Awesome. Oop, bye now. Stay. That can go there, that can go there. Did they at least, when the customers came in, did they at least buy something good? Or were they just, buying a packet of strings and deciding over exactly which ones they were going to buy and aching over whether they were going to go for the 9.5 gauge or the 9 gauge? Alright. An electromechanical designer for over 30 years, but sincerely know little about electronics. Right on. So electromechanical, are we talking like motors and servo type stuff and that? I learned a little bit about that kind of stuff when I did electronics at TAFE because, it was part of the thing is a lot of it was that repair side of things. So, old, ancient old systems and motors and elevators and all that kind of random stuff. Accessories where we make our money. That's where we have some margin. A little bit anyway, not a huge amount, but some margin. Gone are the days of when people would wire harnesses. Oh yeah. Working on a deluxe reverb reissue, then got Marshall heads divided by 13. Oh yes, that thing. You obviously saw that 2 rock bought divided by 13. Don't know what that means other than, that cork sniffers are going to go absolutely wild for the brand, even more so now. What have I got? I've got this thing, I got this, I got the Moody, Garl, G-A-R-L. It used to be a music shop, George R. Lee Music in the city, and he also made amp heads because that's what a lot of Aussies did back in the day. Yeah, so I got that, the Moody, the Phi Sonic I'll check out, and I got the Golden Tone and the Rose Music. Yeah. But then again, sometimes when the ownership changes, things get better. Point in case, Yamaha buying Ampeg, Yamaha buying Line 6. The quality went up. What can I say? That's one of the reasons why I still do the whole authorized service thing for Yamaha. That and they pay their bills. Interesting fact for those who didn't know, right? Many years ago, right? Rose Morris Limited, Rose Morris Limited over in the UK, right? So they were the company that that imported Rickenbackers, did that obviously teamed up with Marshall to distribute Marshall and that caused Park amps to exist and all the rest of that, right? One of the sons, one of the brothers who owned the company came to Australia and set up a division of it, Rose Morris Limited, Australia. they kept on and they started doing things and seeing that there was a market here for the burgeoning rock and roll scene, and set up local manufacturing for amps, because obviously things were expensive. You couldn't just like you couldn't just like import things. You couldn't bring in the Marshalls from the UK in the same kind of way. So they set up Rose Morris Limited Australia, which eventually became Rose Music. So this company was around for many, many years, right? So they made amps like Golden Tone, and they made some as well that didn't have the Golden Tone logo on there, but had the Rose Music logo. Fast forward a couple of years, the company still keeps plodding along and acting as a distributor, importing products. They were actually the Yamaha distributors, importing them. Yamaha, of course, had contracts that with importing Marshall and various other things in other markets. And then what happened was Yamaha Japan turned around and bought Rose Music. Yamaha Australia, therefore, is the direct descendant of Rose Morris Australia and Golden Tone amps. So Yamaha Music Pty Ltd was a direct continuation of Rose Music Proprietary Limited. Yeah, so I thought that was absolutely fascinating. So they're the they're the legacy of that. That's why Yamaha as well were importing Marshall and that in the 80s, and they did a bunch of other brands and that. And yeah, so they're still kicking on. That's why Australia is one of the few companies that was one of the first countries to have international branches of companies like Roland and Yamaha. We were the first country to have a branch of Roland outside of Japan before the US, and yeah, we also ended up having Yamaha Australia, who are still kicking along here and as a direct subsidiary of Yamaha Japan. All because of Rose Music, all because of amps, and all because of someone going, those Aussies down there, they can, they're making a bit of music, let's make some equipment. I'm an electrician in Australia. It's a good challenge to look inside this stuff. I got used a schematic on the door and every core labelled and numbered for every bit of gear I look at in industry. Right on. Yeah, it's like, I remember when I was at TAFE, the teacher said the difference between you guys and an electrician, electricians deal with power, electronics guys deal with data. And that kind of makes sense, right? Electricians just sending power through wires, through walls, to turn the motors, to brighten the lights, to do all the rest of that. We harness that electricity and we turn it to data, whether it's analog or digital. So whether we're designing a circuit that turns things on and off, whether we're, creating audio circuits, whether we're, dealing with even motor control circuits, it's still taking power and creating a form of data to make those amps turn and do their thing and that. I thought that was absolutely fascinating personally. But I'm also a bit of a strange person. We all knew that. I mean, why else would you be here if I was completely normal? There's no fun in that. Yeah. I can finally make use of the thing that my parents would get annoyed at me at when I was a child and tell me to, stop talking so much, because I could talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles. Especially if something interests me, I won't shut up. So I'm glad my partner puts up with what she does. She's dealt with me for the last decade. She ain't getting away anytime soon. Just lets me rant. Just sits there going, yes dear, All right, that's a big fat 20. Oh man, that's a big cap. Come here. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Right. That's not a great soldering job on that. Yeah. So the funny thing is when you get some electricians who do try and do things, but they don't understand the finesse of how to troubleshoot or how to use a soldering iron properly. So I was like, yep, you can calculate how to run power in a wall and that, and know how to, not overheat things that way, but the rest of it, there's a bit of info missing there. Okay, a little bit of stuff there. Go. Okay. Come on. I said come on. Damn thing. Alright, so that's just come off. Was that not soldered on properly either? Seriously, guys, what the hell? Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Amps are taking power goes in, little other power goes in, makes big power. Little power in, big power out. Alright, that goes in there. Let's see what happens there. Oh man, this is a mess. Ugh. That's terrible. This is also all from factory as well, so, you know. Would have been thrown together for its price point and made because people didn't exactly have many other choices. Unless you were some rich, fancy musician who could, like, import stuff directly yourself, you were kind of stuck with the local fare. Stay. Who is it? Howdy. All right. Thank you much, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking of Yamaha, parts delivery. So after I'm done streaming and gotten at least like 1 or 2 of these amps back on the road, I've got to fix up a Yamaha PSRE 363 that has a busted PCB in it. I've also got a sequential circuits Profit Rev 2 that has a busted power supply that I had to get from the US because there's no local sequential dealer distributor anymore, and they use a Meanwell power supply that's discontinued and has no easily available equivalent. What a pain in my ass. Alright. So that one's out there, which is good. And then we'll pull this one too. Okay, so that's obviously come from there. So what's that run into? Over there, okay. Right. Righto. Righto, righto. Okay. Why would you not, like, lay the ground connection on the ground, not just over the... So yes, I will make a broad generalization about these kinds of amps. They weren't laid out very well. Specialized stuff. Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. That's unfortunately why there's so few of us out and about that, you know, guys like Brad are absolutely hammered. Guys like me, not so much, because there's a whole thing behind that. Why? But one day I will be absolutely hammered again. Yeah, like, labor charges have to go through the roof because it's either that or, you know, we're, like, working non-stop. Can I acquire a Profit 1 top key? I need a replacement. No. Really? Something like that. Centaur in the US is where I get parts from. Somehow those guys have been doing that for as long as they have, and have magical little tentacles that find all these little stashes and caches across the country to find those things. Here in Australia, old US synths, they are like $1 million items almost. And they are very, very hard to come by. If you need a bunch of old Japanese synth keys, I can hook you up with that because I got plenty. I got a bunch of dead ones here that I got to part out. However, if anyone has a G key for a Korg MS-20 or MS-10, also a Moog Prodigy or Moog Rogue, a Realistic Concert Mate, Korg 700DV, one of those ones, cool, let me know, because I have one here that I can't sell because I don't have a key for it. Nobody has one. I've been waiting months for Centaur to part one out and they haven't. It is just, I swear, I'm going to like send, I'll send like an email to Look Mum No Computer because he's always got like a bunch of keys for MS series, MS-10s, because he keeps breaking them apparently. Hopefully not the G key, because I need that. I need the G key. Fix this G key up and I can actually put up a damn sale. I want to make my synth wonderland on the shop floor happen. Get a bunch of stuff happening. You got one for a Prodigy. You have a G key for a Korg Prodigy. I mean, not Cork Prodigy, a Moog Prodigy. Please, for the love of God, sell it to me. I need a G key. Because, right, let me just step over here, okay? That thing there, that can go away to there. Ugh. Come on, come here. Because this thing is sitting here. Oh man, don't tease me. I will tell you. I will not be happy. But yeah, this thing here, G key. Need a G key. No G key. So every time I come on and I'm searching for parts, I will send out, send out vibes to the universe. More realistically, words. But I need a G key for that thing so I can sell it. Because there is a guy over in Greece, I think it is, or something, who does a 3D printed key. But I don't want a 3D printed key because people, I mean, most people are going to use that with like a CV anyway, but they're going to want it original. And if I put the 3D printed one on there, I don't know, man. I'm kind of at that point where I'm literally considering like getting some of these old synths, getting the keys, sending them to China and go, make me clones. Injection molding ain't cheap, but you know what? Some of these keys are like $20 or $30 a piece. Anyone want to crowdfund that with me? I'll start crowdfunding some replacement bits. Might be the only way to do it. Because there are certain keys that are just really, really fragile. So on the this keybed, which was made by Matsushita, Panasonic in other words, these G keys are known for breaking because they've got like a fault line in them where the molding meets, and it makes them very, very, very weak. So the end result is they snap right along that same axis every time. Okay, I think that's the one there, isn't it? Yep, so that's it, cool. Alright, so if I snip that there, that'll get rid of that. Wait, I'm going to put my... There we go. Yeah, I mean, 3D printed one will at least make it, functional, but synth guys are almost as bad as guitar guys when it comes to how they want their equipment. If they're a little bit more practical on things, so replacement boards, upgrade kits, so things like the Tubutex and the Kiwi mods and stuff like that. But things like keys and keybeds and stuff, unless there's like a really good select Fatar mod or something, they'll usually want them original. 3D printed stuff can be kind of okay, but I haven't seen these ones, and for how much he's selling them for, they're like literally the same price as a good second-hand one. Problem is, there's no good second-hand ones around. There's no second-hand ones. There's a good question, Brad. With your amp designs, the ones that are going to be on PCB, are you going to use radials more? Because I know with some of the amp designs that I've got, hopefully in the pipeline, they will use radials because they're easy to get a hold of. However, I want to put them in a way that they're easy to remove. It just makes things far simpler. Putting them in and having them so that you have to pull the entire board out and flip everything up just to change a cap can be a real headache when they need changing from time to time. Okay. So we got that out finally. Excellent. Get rid of the little daggy bit there. Sweet. A little bit of solder. And then I'm going to remove the excess. Alright. Radials for all designs. Nice. See, that's what makes a great designer. Someone who's been in the trenches and done the repairing side of things. It's like all the engineers that make all these fancy cars, and the mechanics are like, why? Have you ever tried changing a water pump from there where you got to remove the entire front end of the car just to get in there? They don't think. They don't. They're fancy pants engineering degrees, but they don't think of the ongoing longevity issues. They don't think, hey, what can I do to make this thing actually continue on? All right, let's pull out the desoldering gun. Yeah, exactly. I mean, another thing you can also do with them as well, and one that is quite a good mechanical connection, is literally just cable ties. 2 holes in the board, wrap under, cable tie, sorted. You see that in a lot of TV designs and similar type things. There's nothing wrong with having a capacitor on its side. There are a lot of TVs that do it, especially LCDs or anything used like a cold fluoro tube back in the day. You'd have the big, long, like tube-shaped capacitors, and they're bent over on the PCB, held in place with cable ties. Yeah. A good set of caps will last and last and last and last and last and last and last. That's kind of the aim of the game. You know, when you're making a product at a very small scale, you can charge a premium for it. The customer is going to want a premium as well, and part of that is, you know, getting better longevity out of it. So, for example, if you're making an amp and you're selling it for like $5,000, say, you know, you don't mind if you spend an extra $100 on parts across the amp, because that's a small portion of it, and you're only making like 5-10 amps in a quarter, if that. So that money adds up. It's a couple of bucks there, but it also means less in warranty claims, means less in having to lose stuff to there. You do it once and it's all hunky-dory, done. The company, however, that gets really big and starts doing 1,000 items a month, well, they're going to take those parts and they're going to cut 3 cents here, 5 cents there, 10 cents there to get them down into a cheaper price point. Because all of those numbers all add up. Give this a bit of a clean. Where's my thing? There we go. There we go. Nice. This ancient gun that just still keeps keeping on. I had to get new elements from New Zealand. I had to get them from New Zealand, bro, because there was no one in Australia that has them anymore, and they've been discontinued for a little while, which is unfortunate. Cool. Excellent. Okay. Excess solder removed from that section there. I'm going to take this bloody thing, I'm going to lay it down on the ground, because it doesn't need to be up in the air. Alright. Do I even need it that long? Ugh. Well, I'm not gonna cut it. Not gonna cut it. I can just go that way. Nah, it's gonna annoy me. It's gonna annoy me. Fixed a Roland piano that had 2 broken keys and thought I'd cleaned all contacts while I was there. Fixed those, now 6 others stopped. Ah, yes. Roland, depending on what models they are very, very sensitive to having their anything cleaned on them for their contact strips. The contact strips are very, very weak. The finish on them, the graphite material, the carbon stuff, is absolute junk. So you go to clean it and it just goes, nah, see ya, I'm out of here, and you end up with really high resistance. That high resistance, unfortunately, means that it now no longer responds properly, especially when you go to try and use like touch sensitivity, because it's got the 2 pads and it's basically detecting the time difference between them as to how hard it is. Yeah, so that might be a case of new pads, new contact strips, because unfortunately, like you can get like keyboard repair kits for like repairing the rubber contacts. They don't work well. They don't last. They die. They all die. They all turn to crap. So they're like a temporary fix. Good if you're like really, really strapped for cash and you just want like a working solution for a brief bit, but not long term. Not in any way, shape, or form. Come on. Let go. There we go. Get out. Come on. Cool. Alright. The fun part about big massive tabs like these where it's connected to the ground plane is the whole thing acts like a heatsink. So actually trying to get the damn thing heated up is a fun task, to say the least. Come on. I need a little bit more solder to bridge it. Oh, stomach. My stomach apparently has told me that it is time for lunch almost. Come on. Keep going. Okay. Oh, that's why. That'd do it. Oh. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, rolling stuff definitely ain't what it used to be, unfortunately. Anything over the last, 10 years or so. Nah, not great. Not great, unfortunately. When the British guy who's the bean counter who took over the company, ended up sort of doing a bunch of stuff with it, and just took away what kind of made Roland good at what it did. Yeah. I mean, if it's free, it's free, so that's a plus. At least you're not at least you're not going to damage anything. Well, ain't going to cost you much. Okay, let's go to there. Come on, you. There we go. Lighting. I suppose it is one of the primary differences between Brad and I. I'm insane enough to take on a lot of this old synth stuff. It ain't pleasant. It ain't fun. It ain't easy. It ain't easy being cheesy. Because old synth stuff is a nightmare in and of itself. It needs so much particular skill set and tools and knowledge and that, and Also, a big bench. You need a lot of space on the bench. Because if you don't, well, you end up with, kind of smashing things. Come on, now, come. Cool. All right. Yeah, I got a bunch of synths. So let's see, right now in the queue, as far as synths go, I have Nord Electro 5, 2 Roland Juno 106s, a Roland JD800, obviously the MS-20, and an X911. The Korg Lambda, I've got a Wurlitzer 200A, which is pretty cool. Ordered the parts for that one. Korg Poly 6, which we dealt with. The Sequential Prophet Rev 2. What else have I got? Ensoniq EPS 16 Plus, I got to sort that up too. And yeah, so there's a bunch there, and I got more people coming in regularly for synth stuff. And when they bring it in, I always let them know, it ain't going to be quick, it ain't going to be cheap. Unfortunately, synth stuff is wildly expensive to work on. It's a nightmare stuff. But, I like the sound of them. I like synths. Stay. Oh, man. Just got home, check it in. It's cold and wet in Vegas. Wild, man. Ugh, OP1s. OP1s can get in the bin. Seriously. Oh, yeah, we're all about supporting repair and that. And yeah, cool. Here, buy a board. All right, great. Where do I get them from? Well, you got to wait 6 months for them to come in, and then they're like 2/3 the cost of the unit. No thanks. I had a customer who was asking about one that had a defective power switch and the keyboard on it. The only thing you do with them is replace boards, because the keyboards on them and the interfaces are the same as what you'd find on a laptop, because they're not like tactile switches, they're like butterfly scissor switches. And then you've also got a the board for the ins and outs, which you might be able to replace the switch on it and the likes, but they are a very, very delicate board, and they don't like being replaced. They don't like having components taken off of them. Yeah, the Yamaha A3000, yeah, we worked on those before, they're pretty solid. Yeah, the A5000 is pretty good too. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? So whenever anyone calls up and says, I've got an OP1 that has issues, like, okay, cool. Turnaround time on parts is expensive, and I got a price list of the parts. Like, here they are. My time, it'll take me half an hour to replace it. That's it. In and out. Your board cost, though, not going to be cheap. And there's a new version of the OP1 anyway. So, although I had that guy who was the touring rave DJ, bro. He had an OP1 and he brought in his whole touring rig and was having issues with it. And what was happening was that the OP1 had issues on its USB connection. It was shorting out. So what it was doing is it was shorting out the USB bus and causing his entire rig to freeze and completely spaz out. So notes would hang in that and it would go weird. So yeah, it was literally just a case of, all right, need a new board in there. And like two other techs couldn't solve it. Brought it in to me, I was like, jiggle, jiggle, jiggle cable. Oh, it's shorting out. Let's pull that out. Oh, look, it all works perfectly fine because he had like a bunch of equipment all connected up to a MacBook and all that. And it was actually really, really in-depth rig. Like, you know, DJs, contrary to like the old classic angry old man yells at cloud memes, some of the stuff, like the way they do their the sets and the way they do things live is really, really intricate. Like his rig setup was a a Roland SPD SX SPD pad, right? It was that MacBook Pro, the OP1. There was also an Alesis. No, sorry, it was an Alesis drum pad. An Alesis drum pad for that. OPD1, and using a bunch of ins and outs and virtual instruments in the amp, in the YouTube. So, yeah, it was like just one of those things where it's like really, really in depth. So all these things are all triggering that. And you look at like the because it was done in Ableton. So complex how it's all routed in that. So when he comes back from his tour, I've got to rebuild him a new case and new things because, yeah, it was his rig was very big, heavy, and cumbersome, and for what he needs to do, it needs to be more streamlined. He's using like an Apollo 8X for his outs, and then it's like, get rid of that, go for a Behringer X32. X32s work well for that if you want all the fancy ins and outs, and you can control them a lot easier. But even stuff like, for example, he was wondering why his MIDI was having issues, like how long is the the USB cable you're running for it? Oh, like way long. Well, it's out of spec. Donatello, not my favorite of the Ninja Turtles, but I'll let it swing. Just subscribed, love this stuff. G'day from Brizzy, Briz Vegas. Nice. What we got? I think other techs can't find it means it went on the shelf and they didn't even look at it for 6 months. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, but some of them though, like this guy actually had like an email stream and that showed what was done in that. Just these people just weren't checking for simple things. I've seen this kind of fault previously, so I knew kind of roughly where to look at. I knew that it'd have to be, with how he was describing it, something was hanging up the whole system externally of it, and sure enough it was. But like there are some people who, working through stuff, it's like beyond their forte, but they took it on when they kind of shouldn't. Like I've got a Lexicon PCM70 here, and the PCM70 is distorting. It's distorting on the output. Run it very low and the waveform looks okay. Get it up past a certain point and it loses half the cycle. So it's distorting like absolute mad. Put it into service mode and that and check it. It's had the RAM chips supposedly replaced, but they changed them and that and didn't deal with the problem, which seems to be the most common way of doing it. But looking at it, it's looking like it's actually the AD converters. They're not doing what they need to do, so they're losing information. Because when you push it up past a certain threshold, then suddenly the data all disappears. But below that point, it's still a clean thing. As far as that being my phone, yes it is. My shop is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So if you call on a Monday and Tuesday, guess what? I'm not answering. I'm sorry, but this is what I'm currently working on. This is what I'm currently doing. And this is also kind of therapeutic for me. It's kind of downtime because I work 7 days a week. I don't get days off. I had 2 days off over Christmas, and that is it. My next day off won't even be on Australia Day because I will be in the shop working, fixing things. Being offered a Korg Kala. Korg Kala? Wait, what? What on earth is a Korg Kala? Like, I'm a Korg service agent. I've never heard of a Kala. Where's it? Korg Kala? Oh, Karma, right. Okay, gotcha, yep. So this is from that wonderful era of early 2000s Korg doing their thing. So it's very much of what I call the cell phone chic era. They're interesting kind of units. Some people kind of like them and dig them. What is it? How much are they going for these days? Korg Karmas go for a couple $100, so they're not the most expensive of things, but still okay. Where is it? That one there. So yeah, so if someone's giving you a Korg Karma for $50, like personally, I would take it. The main thing with those, and one thing I've actually found recently, I've actually found it now on 2 separate units, similar sort of Korgs of that era. What's happening is that the electrolytic caps are starting to leak. Go away! I'm not answering my phone. Yeah. So what's happening is that the electrolytic caps are starting to leak, especially in the analog section, so you're getting signal that's not getting out. I had an R3 that came in and had low output, went through, checked, pulled a cap in the output section, it was leaky, it was just starting to leak. Replaced it, signal got better. Pulled out another one, put in another one, got a little bit better. I ended up replacing a dozen of them in the analog signal path, and that was what was causing the signal to drop out. So I would recommend taking a look at those caps. If you see a little bit of like yellow or greenish discoloration on the pads, then you're going to end up probably going to be best to replace those caps and it'll get it working. Donatello, how can I stop my Fender Pro Junior cooking L84s? It gets bloody hot. I mean, look, tubes get hot. That's what they do. They have a heating element inside. They get like over 100 degrees easily. Now, if the tubes are going in there and they're going bad, or they're red plating, or they're running beyond their dissipation, which Fender does do, they torture EL84s, then what you need to do is basically adjust the bias. There's adjustable bias mods you can do to them that make it easier to lower the plate dissipation. However, the trade-off to that is lower the plate dissipation, you're also raising the plate voltage, which these amps already run them close to their red line. You know, so if you drop the bias too much and lower the plate dissipation too much, you can actually push them even further outside of an EL84's comfort range for operation. So you got higher voltage, more chance of arcing, more chance of spontaneous failure. So it's a bit of a balancing act there. Yeah, take it to a tech, get them to check it out. If you don't know of a good tech, myself or Brad, more than happy to recommend one that we might know who's up that way, sort of dependent. Alternatively, I get amps sent in from all over the country for repair as well. So, good content idea if you get something not valuable. Try repairing using any of those fucked up internet fix methods like 2-minute noodles in epoxy or weird shit. See, I'm already planning a bunch of stuff like that. I'm actually dragging Brad into some of it as well. You know, that's going to be hilarious. I'm a bit more on the I don't care if I go down the route of clickbaity type stuff and doing things that'll engage people for rage, because that's what I do. You know, I'm a performer. I like to court controversy where I can. You know, especially when like finding those stupid hacks online like TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and that for guitar stuff. It's like, that's dumb, let's test it and show kind of why. But also like posts on Reddit, posts on Facebook where guys are like, oh, do this and it worked well and, you know, cool. And it's like, no, that doesn't work. Yes. Who up in Redlands, Brisbane? I don't know. I have to check. Yeah, I'm sure if Brad's got a spare moment, he might check, and if not, I'll wait until after the stream and reply to you that way, because my computer's up there and I'm down here sorting stuff out. Yeah, there's bound to be a good tech up there, even if you have to travel a little bit further or ship it into them. The Pro Junior's a small amp; they're easy to post. Good quality tech should be able to take in stuff for shipping as veil. No. Let's see. We go that one through there. Put it up the right way. That one can go in through there as well. Cool. Alright. Let's put it down against the chassis like so. There. Wrap it around a wee bit. Wrap that one around too. Stay. Rock and roll. Kind of occurred to me. Some people think of me as like Dr. Gear specifically. You know, Brad's Guitar Garage, obviously. It's Brad. Might be a little bit weird if it was like George running it, but, you know. But for those who don't actually know, here's my point to the right side. My name is actually Six. S-I-X. Yes, like the number. Yes, it is my real legal name, and yes, I chose it myself. Will I be answering any further questions on that? No, I will not. So yeah, back to the amp, as we were doing. And now I'll go back to the Primitive by Soulfly stuck on my head. Not the worst song to have stuck in there. It's pretty good. Okay. Now, that one needs to go into... Ugh, God, that is awful. Do I have enough room to be able to get it in there? I'm gonna have to trim that back a little bit, and let's hope I got enough room for it. It's ancient globs of wiring that aren't in a phenomenal state. Also, anyone who wants to buy parts online, if you're going to buy them, I don't think I would recommend Exxon. Literally, X-O-N. That's the name of the company. Seriously, they have some cool esoteric parts and things that I needed, but, I ordered parts like the beginning of last week. They still haven't shipped out. Apparently they're not shipping out for like another 3 or 4 days. Like, man, come on, you're a big, massive company. You got offices in Australia. Why would you not be able to get stuff out to me quickly? Like, I want to get this stuff sorted because I need. They're the only place. They're literally the only place that had this one DC to DC converter, because it's a weird Chinese one that's used in a bunch of Chinese stuff that unless I buy 1,000 of them, I can't get. Mauser, DigiKey, no one has them. So I have to wait. And while I was there, I was like, you know what? They're going to charge me shipping. I'm not going to spend $200 to get free shipping. I'll get some new wire strippers too. Nah, still haven't shipped them out. So yeah. As far as Umbrella Academy, have not watched it, have not seen it, have not read the comics either. My only passing familiarity with it is knowing that it was done by that dude from My Chemical Romance, and it stars Elliot Page. That's all I know. Yeah. But no, the one thing that nobody ever seems to bring up, especially given my age, was that there was a TV show in the 90s called Blossom. Some Americans might remember it, some others won't. Here in Australia, we might remember it more so because it was on, like, you know, daytime TV and all the rest of that for ages, because we get a lot of crap shows that just hang on forever because Australia's a backwater like that. And in the show, which starred Mayim Bialik, however you pronounce her name, she was also in The Big Bang Theory as Sheldon's Missus, I think. I don't know. Not a show. Not a show I've watched. Yeah, so she was in that, and her best friend in that show was called Six. Nobody ever brings it up. Apparently, I've not seen it, but someone told me that the reason why she was apparently named Six, or nicknamed Six anyway, was because she was conceived after a 6-pack of beer. So, yeah. 90s TGIF TV was a wild thing. Absolutely wild. Oh, man. Oh, my nose. Ah, seriously. Oh, working on these old amps is horrid for that. Oh, gives you the worst, like, just, ugh. Sinusitis. Terrible. Come on, you. Do the thing. We good? We good. All right. Cool. Let's get that in there. Come on. In you go. Go. In there. Get in there. Seriously. Just want to get in that hole right there. There we go. Alright, let's pull that out for a second. Stay. Ah, frustrating. The prisoner! Yes! And my familiarity with that comes from that classic episode of The Simpsons. Yeah, Simpsons were... So there were so many Simpsons references, so many things I didn't get growing up until I was older. Okay, I gotta add a little bit more flux onto that duva. Where's my flux pen? Flux pen, flux pen, flux pen. Where is my flux? There it is. Flux pen. Oh, man. Oh, man. Terrible nose. Terrible, terrible nose. Oh. Yeah. Flux pen's brilliant. Because you can take them. Add a little bit of flux while you need it. Especially on like sockets and that without having to flood everything. There we go. Just clear off the little bit of excess like material and stuff that's on there. Much better. Sweet. Dan Murphy. Oh yeah. Could you get any more Aussie than that? Yeah, name a Kelpie Dan Murphy, you know. Because both make me happy. Yeah. I've got a dog. I've got a miniature pincher who is, oh God, she's ancient. She's like 12 or 13 now. I honestly can't remember. Yeah, she's got one eye. She's missing half her teeth. She's very grumpy and she's very deaf now. Yeah, and she's still kicking along. Some people might remember her from my old shop when I first opened it up because she used to come in with me all the time. But yeah, then she just started staying home because she's getting a little bit grumpy, a little bit old. Especially when there was kids around because I had the music school. Alright, so now if that goes into there, like so. Come on. There we go. Cool. Alright. That goes into there. And so, with that miracle, I should have enough room in there and enough mechanical connection to get that soldered. Saw the prisoner on its first run before VCRs. I wasn't even a twinkle in my daddy's eye by that point. I didn't even know he was alive then. God. Don't know, don't care. Have nothing to do with him or that entire side of the family. The only thing that I want to do with him is the fact that I can obtain Hungarian citizenship by descent. But I can also do that from my maternal family too, because both sides were Hungarian refugees. I can get me one of them fancy EU passports. And I can, like, you know, travel around places. Unlike the poor Brits these days that cannot. I am actually thinking about going for my Hungarian citizenship because of that fact. Oh, itchy. The missus might be able to get Italian citizenship because of her father. But we're not too sure. We have to check. Need a little bit more. Oh, but yeah, if I get Hungarian citizenship, because they are very, very good at that, they'll give basically anyone who's, like, you know, got blood connections to it to get it. Cool. Alright, let's do the jobby. That one there, that one there. Oh. I'd like to cut my nose off now, please. Alright. Come on. So that one through there. That one through there. Out of the way, you. Down there like so. Grab that. Give it a wee wrap around that way. And there. This one can go over that way too. Cool. Alright. So now we got some new caps in there. Nicely, stay. Excellent. Let us make the ground connection. Good. There we go. Ow. Who'd have thought something was just freshly soldered would be hot? Imagine that. Alright, cool. That's good there, that's good there. I'm going to put a little bit more on that. Just a wee bit. There we go. And over to this side. Go. Awesome sauce. Why did I just suddenly revert to 2008? That's terrible. Alright. Come hither, you. There we go. Okay. New cap there, new cap there. That's good, that's good. I don't like that flapping away in the breeze, so I'm going to remove that one there. Just too high, too much going on. But I will leave it plugged in for the moment, just because I actually want to check the... I wish to check what the overall situation is like on the bias. Bias. Okay. Let's plug things in. Oh, itchy nose. Oh, itchy nose, itchy nose, itchy nose. Terrible. All right. That can go there. Stay. All right. Tube. No, I won't call them valves. I know Brad gets mad at me when I do. I call them tubes. But it's okay. They are tubes to me. Alright, let's follow these. 12AX7, position 1. 12AU7, which would be the AWA Super Radiotron. Yep, that one there. And like so. 7025 and 7025. Cool. Stay. That one here too. 12X7. Yeah, they're all 12X7s. And this one too. Just goes that way. Stay. Okay. Okay. At 13 viewers. Nice. I like that. That one there, that one there. Okay, so this is where having many multimeters comes in handy. What the? Why is that flashing? Ah, it's just saying that it's on to. My brain ain't all there. Ain't all there right now. Alright, I'll get that one, and I'll get this one. Like so, you can go there and there. Nah. Lightweight, featherweight thing. And go there and there. Sweet. Am I good? Come on. Ah, that'll be right. Alright. So I've got power there. Those caps out of the way. That would be a switchy switch. So the switch goes from that one to this one, which is just there. It goes up to that and there. Cool. And like so. Oh, the end of the itchy. So much dust. Yeah. I mean, look, old PA stuff is worth nothing. Absolutely nothing. Old solid state PA equipment, by today's standards, is pointless. You can walk into a music shop, drop a couple of $100 and get 1,000 watts in a small rack format. That sounds good, that will blow up, and you buy another one. Those old ones that are big, lugging, heavy things running Class A, B, they give you like 300 watts maximum, with like, 8 channels if you're lucky. None of the preamps sound very good. Very limited onboard effects if they do have them. They're not really worth it, most people that I know who have their own backline, it's usually either a lot of lighting or they'll have extra bins and extra stuff for venues that may not necessarily have it, or if they're outdoor. And of course a lot of solos and duos and wedding type gigs and that, because you're not going to have like backline at a lot of those kinds of venues. So yeah, old PVPA heads, any of those old heads, nah. Any of those old solid state amps of that kind of era, I personally wouldn't touch them. That's just me. Least of all the PA ones. Some of the old PA tube stuff though, good transformers in them. Pull it out, use it as a basis for a build, scrap parts, do it that way. But yeah, like things like the old 5-channel PVPA heads, the old like XR series, like 12-channel things of that. We used to call them school amps, because you find them in every school. Every school has them. They get beaten the hell up and they're not worth anything. It's like the old bins that are like, yay big, massive, chunky, heavy, carpet-covered things. They sound terrible. They aren't great. Modern ones, you pick up a modern amp that's got its own Class D thing in there, they work well. Howdy? Don't think so. What name was booked under?
No any idea. You are being macho?
What?
What did you want?
No, that's a few doors down.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
mate.
all good. Courier was here to pick something up, but it wasn't from me. Normally I sometimes I forget to pack things up in time for the couriers, but this time I was like, no, I didn't have anything to ship out this time. Everything's all good. All right. Oh man. So where was I? Yeah, that's right. I'm doing this now. We're doing this part. We're going to check what the DC resistance is on the transformers, so that we can do us some bias checks. Come here. There we go. Multimeter 1. There we go. Multimeter 2. Multimeter 3. I'm very lucky. Every single one of these I got second-hand, very cheap. Otherwise, I probably couldn't afford them, because they ain't cheap units. Oh, but they work well for what I need. Okay, let's go into that, and we go into my nose. Okay, so output transformer, which is located there. Where's the wires coming through for that? Up through that. That's that side there. Alright, so alright, where's pin 1 on this bastard? Okay, so it's a green wire there. Yellow one there. Nope. So the grids. Blue ones. Cathodes. Purple. Purple and pink. Really? So it is. Funky. Alright, so. Come on. Connect. Connect you. There we go. Purple, pink. What was the other colours coming out of them there? Blue? Blue. Blue or red? Blue. Yeah. Alright. Over there. Alright, so on that side there we got 120 ohms. I want to go to numbers. There we go. Alright, so maximum plate dissipation of 25. One per side. We got 120 there. And then on the other side, connect. Come on. Grab it. Oh my god, seriously. There we go. 120. Whoa, 91.9. Man, that's a big disparity. But that is okay. It doesn't matter so much about how different the DC parameters on them are, because what we're worried about is the AC parameters, right? So DC, AC, all that kind of good stuff. yeah, we're basically measuring the DC values while it's at standard operation, the quiescent current whilst it's in that point. All right. That there. That one there as well. Just going to find one more time. Ka-dunk. Something made a loud noise. Yeah. So 120 and 91.8. All right. So the bottom one is 120, and the top one there is 91.8. Good O. Okay, ground connection, thusly. Now I need to put some stuff underneath there. Yeah. And this is a plane because I needed one with a temp probe or something. It's holding up well. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good multimeters out there that aren't huge money. I mean, for example, obviously Dave Jones, the EEV blog, has a bunch of things he's done over the years covering good quality, cheap multimeters. You don't have to spend big money on them. $100, you'll get something real good. I mean, I've actually got my 4th multimeter. It is, funnily enough, an EEV blog one. His first one, the BM235. I'm still annoyed at him though, because I can't get fuses for the bloody thing, so I've got no current measurement on this. I bought some, but he never shipped them. I sent emails, never got a response. So, Dave, you're not going to watch this, I know, but in case you do, I want my fuses, damn it. I've been waiting for them. Alright, yeah, let's get some tubes into that jobber. Let's get some spacing underneath it too. Stay. That one there, and this one. There we go, cool. Alright. Propped it up with some wonderful makeshift pieces of material, which I actually do quite like because it is soft and doesn't end up marking things, which is good. Also means I can stack them up quite easily and they don't do a huge amount of problematic stuff. Alright, make sure I don't have anything that's going to touch anything or mess anything up. That can go out of the way there, that can go out of the way there. Now, of course, this is not about how, it's how well it sounds right now. All we're doing is just checking the operating conditions and stuff like that of it. So, dummy load, 8 ohms. Right, so, there's my 8 ohm. That's 15 ohm. Just call it 16 and be done with it, damn it. You're probably not going to be able to see most of what's going on down here, but it's okay. As long as I can see it, that's the main thing. Alright. Go all the way down here, out of the way there. This way. Stay. Ow. Oh, ow. I have my arm there somehow. I have some flukes too. Would you believe 789 fluke doesn't measure capacitance? Would not surprise me, honestly. Some of them are very specialized, like very, very specialized. Others are more kind of like general purpose. It's like the ones you can get down at like Bunnings here, or some over in the US with like Home Depot or similar, although they have a much wider range. You can get like the like the home handyman type flukes that have like very, very few functions, no true RMS on there. I don't think they even do resistance. I don't know, but they lack a lot of features, but they're very cheap. I'm actually going to pick up some new tools this week. I need a new thermal scope, a new thermal camera, because I've got a Ensonic EPS 16 Plus. I need to trace a power short in the 15 volt rail. Mentioned it before, but yeah, I've got to sort that one out. Why is my phone going off at me? Don't care, don't care, don't care. Nope, nope, nope. Alright, now we're good. Cool. Oh man, my nose. Alright. Cool, so we've got that there. We'll switch over to voltage because we want to measure the voltage drop across the transformer at idle. Once again, let me just make sure there's nothing here that... Oh, there we go. Almost did something stupid. Almost. I got distracted and didn't connect the other half of the switch. Always want to double check. Always, always, always. Because inevitably, if you don't, you're going to do something stupid like I almost did. It's the joys of working with ADHD and all the rest of that is having to figure out ways to keep things going and find systems and processes by which normal function can be somewhat mimicked. Definitely not going to be a normal type person, but if I was normal, no one would be tuning in to watch me, would you? Okay, cool. So that there, I'm just going to kick that straight on. There we go. Okay, let me just confirm that I haven't put any caps backward, that I haven't made any shorts or anything else like that, that I've soldered everything. That has been soldered, that is correctly done, that is done, that's fine, that is fine. We also have that which is soldered fine, and they're okay. Cool. I'd say we're good to go. Oh man, seriously. Voltage check there, that's fine. Let's go to that and there. Alright. I made a cardinal sin. I forgot to check one thing. A very, 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 very important thing. One that should be the first thing any tech checks when an instrument is first brought in. Can you guess what it is? I forgot to check the fuse to make sure it's the right value. It says it's a 1 amp fuse, 1.5, 1.5 amp. Lucky. Had the right fuse in there. Had that have not had the right one in there and something else had gone wrong, oh boy. But then again, maybe I did check it previous, I don't know. Bad form on my part. But at least it was something minor like that and not something absolutely crazy. Yeah, I can get the FLIR phone and all the rest of that. Honestly, I'm not going to go with the FLIR stuff. It is way overpriced what it is. What I am going to get though is a Unity UNI 420B. So they're brilliant because they're $400. Very high resolution, 30 frame a second as well, or 25 or something like that. So they're very, very good. They're like $400 Australian. Can't go wrong with that. They work really well. The FLIR stuff for like iPhone or something like that is very expensive. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But, yeah. Let's see. You don't need a fluke like me. If you want a fluke, look for dead, no display or dim display ones. Yep. Cleaning contacts with a pencil eraser fixes most of them. Yeah, legit. That is a very, very common thing with them. A lot of repairs are quite simple. You can sort of sort them out with some ease. For example, I got, I got this one over here on this side for $120 from a hock shop because the continuity function didn't work, but it did. What was actually going on was the little piezo buzzer inside of it was dead. Got a new piezo from Fluke, it was like $9. Put it in there, came back. Brilliant. You know. That's why if you're getting into this kind of stuff, buying broken things to fix them, that's also a really good way of doing it. You learn how to fix the stuff that you're buying, to maintain them, to keep them going, and you save a bunch of money there too, so it all becomes part of the hobby. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. Okay, so that's in there, we're good, we're good, we're good. All right. Now, just for safety's sakes, let's go slow. Come here. What I'm going to do is turn this up to only 10% of maximum. Oh, in you go. And that one. Come on. Okay. I just want to make sure that we're not getting anything kind of too crazy going on. That's about right. Cool. Alright. Alright. Good. Come here. Come on. Ah, you bastard. There we go. Cool. So 10% of mains, we should be getting about 10% of HT for most places. Obviously is a little bit different because it's not fully conducting, but still nursing the beer in your garden. Alright, stay. Just make sure that I got a good ground connection going on. Nope, that's a really bad connection. Come on. I have to find somewhere else I can strap this thing to. It's terrible. Terrible, Muriel. There we go. Sweet. Fixing broken champs and basemen. Meanwhile, in Australia, even a broken champ is worth an absolute mozza. Stuff like that just was not common. This was your champ. This was the kind of thing that you got. Just throw it away, get something new. That's all it was, really. Alright, let's go. Alright, let's get rid of that. Let's check some voltages. What we got here? 50 volts. 50 volts. Cool. That one there. 50 volts. Nice. A bit over in this side. 50 volts. Awesome. So at the key nodes, we got stuff going on there. Obviously, the tube isn't conducting yet, so we're not going to be able to check what the voltage on the cathode is. So we don't have to worry about that too much just yet. But everything's passing where it needs to. Okay. I just realized how fat the heater wiring is for this thing. That's massive. It's like if ever you've worked on a Laney amp, same thing. Man. But I mean, even like a couple of years ago, right? Like 5, 10 years ago, not even. Silverface Basemans, a couple of $100 tops. Even here in Australia, they weren't worth a huge amount. I picked up a Baseman Export 50. 50 watt Baseman. Picked it up for $400, which is a bargain here. And then it was busted and that, so I sent it off to be repaired by a shop, because this was before I could repair. And then they charged me like 400 and something bucks to replace a cap and like 2 resistors. And I'm like, man, that took them like 2-3 months to fix up. And I just paid that much for those components? I'm in the wrong game. And that's what made me go, I'm going to go off and study electronics. So, yeah. Thanks, Stan and Lewis at Guitar Factory Parramatta. You're the reason I exist. Oh, man. All right, let us go. Yep, we're good. Everything's all connected the way it should. All right, excellent. All right, let's see what kind of conduction we get across that tube. Awesome. Excellent. All right. All right, bring up Quackulator. All right. That is a fair bit. Yeah, stop jumping over the range, damn it. All right, so I got, what is it? So I got 5.3-ish. And that one is 6. That can't be the right. That can't be right. Because if it is, then we're a bit problematic, huh? 435. Okay. It's quite low on the plate side. Okay. So the numbers are pretty kind of out of whack on this. Either the tubes are really, really mismatched, or they're just like completely worn or something, or I don't think I have, but there's a pretty big DC disparity between the transformer, like one's 90, one's 120. but still. So yeah, that's a thing, huh? Okay, so let me just check. So that one there is going down to there to there. Okay. Okay. So we're running very, 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 very hot on this. Like one tube is like over 100 and the other ones are like 80. Not ideal. What would happen if I threw in a different set of tubes just to see what's going on there? And also verify, because I think I mixed up which one was which. Oh, itchy. Alright. Magic stick. Magic stick. Magic stick to save my butt. So I don't end up like zapping myself. Put that there, and then that there. And then that will drain off any residual voltage over a couple of seconds. Stops arcing. I have a basement and I'm gathering parts and tools before I dig in. Nice. Trust me, I wish I could stop snorting, but remember, there are certain tics and things I cannot control. As such, I am prone to doing them. You know, that is the joys of being on the spectrum amongst other things. I will do stuff randomly and annoyingly. That's why I'm only usually handleable in about small little dosages, not a huge amount. People can't often take me for long periods. Alright. Alright, so this one, which is the... Where is it? That one there, which is there, to there, to there, to there, to there. Alright, so the back one is 120. Yep, so that one there is one that's closest to me. Alright. Let me just quickly check again. Yeah. The thing is with like all of that, the thing is the snort button's not going to help, is because I don't know when it's going to happen. My body literally does it. That's it. So snort button ain't gonna work. Sorry. Yeah, so you know, with basements and similar type things, you end up with speculator brain. A lot of people buy stuff thinking they're going to make money out of it. Nobody knew that cars were going to be what they were worth. No one thought baseball cards were going to be what they were worth. First edition comic books, all that. But then the speculators come along and start buying things up. Oh, you're going to make huge money on it. They make nothing. Absolutely nothing in the end. Alright. Yes, go away. Alright. Yep, cool. Alright. Let's just try checking that one more time again. Alright, we're good there, we're good there. Nothing where it needs to not be. Where'd my thing go? There we go. Alright. Yeah, it's kind of like saying that. However, you know, we both know that I swear like an absolute sailor. However, I tend to keep a PG-13 on streams and videos and whatnot because I'd like to make money. Half the reason why I do this is because I enjoy it, but also because I want money. I like doing things that I enjoy to make money. I like money. Money is a thing I enjoy. Growing up in abject poverty will do that to a person. Alright, so we got on that side, let's just say 6.1-ish. On that side we got 5.5. Yeah, so we're running at 105% on one side and 88.5 on the other. So I might have to... I was obviously going to have to drop the... increase the resistor to sort of lower some of that, what's going on. But I might quickly try another pair of tubes in case, just to see. 3 sets of match pairs from factory all had identical heater resistance values and were different between the sets. Yeah. I mean, with something like that, the resistance isn't going to matter so much. With heater values and similar, it's got to do with how they actually perform within spec. So throw the same amount of current through, they're going to generate the same amount of heat, and you're going to get the same amount of, put the same voltage across it, you get the same current draw and the same amount of heat within specification. Let's not fall over. Okay, let's see what I've got here in the tube cabinet. EL34's there. Are they? Those EL34s? EL34s. I'll use the other ones. I'll use these because they're cheap. Couple of cheapies. Okay. I'd like to cut my nose off now, please. Doop 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 doop. When it comes to matching tubes and similar anyway, is that there is a, if you match with one static point or multiple static points, they're all going to be within sort of like wild differences, as long as they work. One of the things I was taught at TAFE when I was doing electronics, right? Close enough is good enough for most purposes. We're not talking like, we're doing crazy metallurgical analysis. We're not measuring like gamma waves from 2.2 billion light years away. We're making bitchin' riffs. We make good tone. Matching stuff up to a super fine point isn't really going to change much. Hi-fi, a little bit, somewhat. Guitar amps, nah. These things are the Neanderthals of circuit design. They're designed like crap. We design them so they do terrible shit. But that's why we love them. That's where the sound comes in. As long as they're not so wildly off that the, the overall plate dissipation is so crazy, then they'll work. That's it. Like horseshoes and hand grenades. I have no idea what that means. Sounds interesting, though. Oh, wait, no, I think I understand part of it now. Hand grenades, close enough is good enough, obviously, if it's like within a certain amount. Horseshoes, though, I don't quite get. That one's a bit strange to me. But then again, I find horse people to be a little bit weird. I dated one once. That was a experience. An experience, to say the least. Alright, so tubes in there. Let's power up. Pull out the calculator. Rushing. Whoa, okay, that one jumped up a bit. Alright, so on that side I've got... Man, I got a lot there. 7 on that one and... Whoa, okay, so we're running that at like 120% plate dissipation. Yep. So we're going to be dropping that down. If only a Gibson is close enough. Yep. Did I live in Japan for any period of time? Your pronunciation of Japanese places is giving me that vibe. No, I'm just a very, very special kind of weirdo who... I try to mimic things as best I can. I suppose it's partly the autism, partly the just being an odd kind of person, and partially because I'm learning the language and that. So if I'm talking about somewhere in Japan, I'll try and use the correct wording. If I'll try to if I try to say a word in a foreign language, I'll try and mimic it somewhat, just because to me it seems a bit more natural. And because I'm pretty good at like mimicking those kinds of things, did drama and that when I was younger and various things. I could metamorphosize my voice into whatever I needed. But yeah, places like Japan and that, if we're talking about going to Tokyo, going to Ochanizu, all those sort of standard bits and pieces. Talking about factories like Fujigen, so they don't do a sound. It's a almost like a half blown type sound, which makes it a bit different. And it's not Kyoto, it's Kyoto. There's stuff I don't quite know though, because there is actually pitch accent in amongst things. So you got like the jump into some like interesting brain work, things like dictionaries and that, and they'll have like little graphs there on how to do the words, and there's like 4 different ways of saying them. So there's a real sort of a minor amount of pitch accent difference, but it's not as in-depth as, say, for example, a language like Chinese or Vietnamese or something, but there is some element of it. Terrible parts bit in there. Uncle Doug says slightly mismatched power tubes give you the tone quality people seek in a guitar amp. There is a definite grain of truth to that, because when you've got them slightly mismatched, you're adding different harmonics out. You're not cancelling out as many frequencies and as many kind of elements of it. So you're making something that is something that is more harmonically rich. If you want pure noise cancellation, though, you want them as matched as closely as possible, because then they're going to like lock really, really tightly in. Have to give horse people peanut butter in order to make them smile. Yes. The old Mr. Ed trick. Okay, so I've got 220 in there. Don't want to jump it up that much. I don't want to do quite 390. 330 would probably be better. Can always change them out, just kind of see how we go. What's that? It's a 1K. No! Hey, 1K. Oh man, itchy nose. What's that? 2K? No. Much too much. You know what? That is very high. I am going to put a 390 in there. 390. Oh, man. So, Neil Moffat, so you're actually in Japan, are you? Cool. Nice. Yeah, I'll be heading back there in March and April, and the plan is to eventually move over there as well. I know a bunch of people over there and whatnot, and obviously I do business with Japanese companies, not only for ordering stuff for that, but like people I get wholesale instruments and stuff from. So yeah, head my way over there one day, live there for a while and experience it, and buy me one of them cheap houses. Obviously, I know that not all Akiyas are, worthwhile, but, I mean, in Sydney, I don't have exactly, a spare $750,000 to buy something vaguely livable on the outskirts, but at least in somewhere like Tokyo, I could probably buy, like, a 2LDK for, like, a couple $100,000 if that, and getting the loans potentially easy, potentially possible, maybe? Don't know. Let me just confirm I'm not going to zap myself. Yep, we're good. Oh, man. That one there, that one there. Whoa. Come on, there we go. Alright. So that's done, that's done. There we go, cool. Okay. That one out, that one out. Yeah. Unlike a lot of people out there who are kind of, enchanted or, have a fascination with Japan or whatever you want to put it, weebs. I'm not quite as sort of weirdly caught up on things as they are, so I'm very much a realist about a lot of things. Not only with, how it is over there and other elements and likes, but just, you know, there are great things about it. There are bad things about it. Same as anything. Oh man. Oh man. A little bit of globular on that too. Oh, too much. Go away. Sweet. Okay. So I got that there, that there. Come on, here we go. I said in. There we go. Wrap it around a wee bit. There we go. Cool. Yeah, there we go. Come on. Get through. Oh wait, you know. Live in Tokyo, offers 10 minutes for Ochanomizu and 20 minutes from Akiba. Nice. That's some good stuff. See, what you should have said is you should have done the classic, Nihongo Jozu. The same thing everyone I know who lives over there gets constantly. So what? So you're in Tokyo. You're over there. What do you do for work over there? Like how'd you end up over there? Because I know a lot of people who end up over there. It's either because they're doing IT or they're doing like international stuff for like international firms over there. I do know someone who actually used to be the VP of R&D at Roland. He was over there in the 80s, and he actually started here at Roland, Australia after coming over from Fairlight, actually. He worked at Fairlight on the CMI and that. It's a cool dude. Absolute champion. Now he's retired and living in Kyoto on the outskirts there. All right. Let's clear that one out a bit. There we go. All right. Let's see if that will do any good for us. Where'd my calipers go? Oh, wait. There you go. Those things. Alright. Now let's see if that tames things down a bit. Yeah, a little bit more that way. Cool. Alright. Let's see. Here we go. Reconnect that back up to that one. There. There we go. Excellent. Alright. Now. Alright, that's connected there, it's connected there. Let us see if we end up blowing stuff up. Nope, we're good. Nice. Oh, nice. Not the worst thing in the world, you know. That's one of the reasons why I want to kind of go over there is because, you know, there is, Japan is terrible at UI, at UX, at web design, and at international commerce. They're absolutely horrible at it. So pretty much I want to open up a branch of the shop over there that does nothing more than, you know, does what I do, but shipping stuff to people around the world and fixing stuff up over there. I already import a lot of stuff from Japan, and it works quite well. Yeah, there's a bunch of people out there who do those kinds of things. Some are good, some not so much. Really kind of depends. All right, let's take a look at this now that we've drawn that back down to a more reasonable kind of level. So at 120, we've now got 4.3-ish, and the other one is more at around 4.2. It's bouncing around a hell of a lot. What's that one going to, like? Alright, let's turn on that there then. Shut up. Just give me the average. There we go. Alright, so we're about 4.2 on either side. Alright, so we got a pretty big mismatch on there. Now I don't know if that's because the transformer's a bit balked or something like that, but we're like 20% difference between them in plate dissipation. One of them's operating at 60% plate dissipation, and the other one is operating like 60% plate dissipation. So that is a fair whack off, unfortunately. Yeah, not much I can really do about that, unless I'm going to do some crazy stuff with individual biasing and that, but that's at least cooled it down a fair bit more. Let me just quickly check what the voltage is on those plates. 450 there. 450, alright. So I got 450 across on the plates now. Yeah. So, I mean, look, there's going to be hum, there's going to be noise, but at least now we're within a kind of reasonable tolerance. So we're actually at under 100% dissipation now, which is far, far better. Much better. All right. So let's put the old tubes in. Let's get rid of that. Let's put the old tubes in and see whether that will still be the case at that point. Because if I don't have to replace tubes, I don't have to. They weren't microphonic or doing anything weird. Wow, excuse me. Wow, terrible. Go, 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 go. Discharge stick. Sweet. I'm going to wait for those to cool down because they're a bit warm. Oh, man. We're approaching lunchtime, I dare hazard a guess. 15 people viewing. Still, absolutely wild. Oh, man. So, for those of you who are watching who have not already hit the like button, who have not subscribed, please do so, because I want to try and do more of this and make money out of it, because I like money. I like money a lot. And also because I like to, I like to rant, I like to talk, I like to do things. Ask questions, do things in the chat, I'll check them out. I'm still small enough that I can see stuff, I can still answer things. I can still find random bits of trivia and information and share it about as best as I can. Okay. Cool down yet? Yeah, it's about right. Nope, still too hot. I had a little silicon froggy glove, that I called it, that was good for removing tubes from amps and that, because it was designed for, it was a, for brain work, come on. Oven mitt type thing. It was a little silicon one. The little silicon one was good because it was small, but it would actually grip onto the tubes as well, which worked quite well. But I have no idea where it is, so I have to go find another one. They're not too expensive, thankfully. A couple of bucks. Should be right. Alright. So they're out of the way now. Let's put in the old ones. Let's see, make sure they're still biasing to the same point. Oh, there we go. Sweet. Alright, one more time feeling. Go. There we go, off we go. Come on. There we go. Let's switch mode to average. So we get about 4 from that side and about 3.4 on that side. Okay. And voltage wise, we got 450-ish. Small square silicon pot holders. We call them trivets here. They work well for things like that. Yeah, they do. This one was cool though, because it was actually like a little like half glove that went over your fingers that way, so you could actually like grab that way, so you didn't have to worry about it falling off your hand. So it didn't. Not like you're gonna grab something that accidentally slipped and it burned like the inside of your fingers there. Oh. All right, cool. Stay. Yep. Alright, so that's actually, these ones actually balance a little bit better now. Huh, wild. Okay. Go away. Yep, we're fine. Alright. So we're good there. Let's get rid of these out of the way. And now for my next trick, I'm going to inject a signal and check it on the oscilloscope. I want to see what the maximum output is. I would like to find out what the actual power is going to be. 30 watts probably sounds about right. That one there, that one there. Yeah, I'll go that way. Alright. Oscilloscope, check. Clip onto there, and that's ground. I want that one there. There's my hot connection. Thank you. Cool. Scope on. Frequency generator on. Let's go for the highest gain input, which is going to be that one. Quickly just discharge it so I don't accidentally shock myself. Awesome. Okay. It's just going to be pure noise. That's all that's going to come out of this, because it's just so... No shielding, terrible noise in the shop in general. Oh. Of course, lights and all that there. Yeah! Oh yeah, I can see all that noise. Lovely. Love it. Okay. Let's get some power and go. Oh man. Go away. Okay. Yes. Let us get output. Go. 1K across 8 ohms. That is fluctuating a lot, and I'm getting a lot of crossover distortion, like way too much. I might actually have to increase that bias. The wave's like collapsing halfway too. Yeah, I think there is definitely something going wrong with that tremolo oscillator. It should not be doing what it's doing, but it is. Alright. That is the ugliest waveform I have seen. Wow. That's awful. What on earth? Yeah, we're pulling like 17 watts thus far. I can't show you, unfortunately. Oh, actually, I might. Might be able to. Okay, let's add another thingy. Add another... There we go. Aha! There we go. Now I am incredibly lazy, so I haven't set up a second thingy for that. But yeah, see, my phone connects wirelessly to it. Brilliant, huh? I might actually want to quickly clean the lens because it's a bit gooby. Cool. Yeah. So that's kind of what the wave is doing. It's pulsating even with the trem off well and truly. Push it up though. Look at that. One half of the wave is completely squared off. I'm wondering, do we have a bad transformer? That might explain why the bias was so bad off, why one was dissipating way more than the other. But yeah, turn it down to minimal. There we go. So it's pulsating. Get it up to there. The trem, right? It's off. There's nothing there. Up there though. Turn the trem on now. Turn the depth up. There we go. And it starts. Turn it up to maximum and it stops. Alright, so I'm going to have to figure out what's going on with this. Kill that. Tremolo. Oh, it's because the trem's... Duh, it's because the trem switch isn't connected. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Right. So. Let me just plonk that here out of the way. Where am I going to put it? I don't know. Let's just hide that for a moment. Alright. So let's kill that for a sec. That's a less than pleasant smell. Oh man. Alright, so that's off there. Alright. Alright, so which one's the tremolo oscillator is the question. Where are you? One or two of those ones. Okay, so that's the trem oscillator there. It's coming up by that. No, that's the reverb, is it? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh. Huh. I just realized this doesn't have a reverb transformer. It's actually direct driving the tank. Huh. Right on. Okay. Wild. Oh, so it's just a direct coupled reverb. Okay. Okay. Bit of an odd one, but sure. So those are the reverb ins and outs there. Huh. Okay. That's the input there, that's the input to that. So that one there is going to be the trem switch. Yeah, which is that there. I wonder if I connect the switch up there, maybe. Yeah, some of the old Transformers smell absolutely terrible. Like, they're just so bad. Absolutely bloody awful, tell you what. Okay. Press that. Come on. Okay. Now let's try that again with all that. Power off, that's there, that's there. Let's see what happens if I can actually kill the reverb in its the trem in its entirety. Come on. Go. Alright. Aha. Sweet. Alright. Yeah. Getting a lot of crossover distortion on this one, like huge amounts. It's kind of wild. If we bring that back up, thusly, there we go. Alright, it looks cleaner, but it's still, yeah. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more on the bias side of things. Yeah, same sort of deal. If I run that up any higher, it's just hard clipping one edge of it. That is wild. So I think I might be losing one half of the waveform. If that's the case, that might be a bad transformer, which would be a pain in the derriere. Oh. That one can be a problem for another time. I think this one needs to go back on the shelf because I spent more time on it than I really probably should have this one, but it was interesting. Disconnect. There we go. I don't know. I'm not huge on the smell of electronics in general. I mean, I can survive with or without it, but certainly not ideal. How does it look at the grids? I have absolutely no idea. Haven't even checked. Let's do that then. Let me get my second probe. No, that's not it. Where's my... There we go. Probe 2. Probe 2. Stay. Okay. So that can go there. That can go there. Channel 2 on as well. Where are you, Mr. Grid? There we go. Alright. On the grid there. And that one, 2 there. Sweet. Alright. 2K2 grid stoppers. That's a thing, isn't it? Come on. Get out of the way, would ya? Stay. Yeah. Yes, I know. I was planning on putting this thing to sleep. Come on, up you go. Okay, 2 probes connected. Yeah, phase inverter is there. What we got? Pin Voon. So 100. Where's it? What are we looking at for that? Okay, let's see. $102. And that one there, which is there's 33. That can't be right. But it is. Huh. That's wild. What on earth? That's a really weird cathode, really weird PI setup. Oh, ooh, God, no thanks. Oh, pass on that. That's a hard no. That is a 220k plate load resistor on V2B. Sorry, on the second half of the phase inverter. What on earth? That is just... That's wild, man. Seriously, what the hell? There's the 470 with the bypass. It's all pretty standard. So where's the trem oscillator going then? I'm gonna have to scope. I'm gonna have to trace this out, aren't I? Not what I wanted. Whatever. Yeah, here's one for you, right? The plate loads on the phase inverter are 220k and 100k. They're out of whack by like an order of like double. That's weird. That's very weird. Alright, so let's see what this is like then if I power it up thusly and check the grids. Should be seeing some pretty good stuff on the grids, huh? 50 volts, oh 50. If you want one. Yep. Them's be some pretty looking sine waves on those grids. Come on. Pair it up. Go. Bring the phone up. Come on. I know you're there. Yeah, my phone has decided to stop doing its thing. Damn it. But yeah, now I got perfect waveforms going up into grid clipping. Grid thingy do. Brain work. There we go. Yep. Pushing up into one half of it. Going nice and choppy. But the output is, yeah. Come on. Pair up, would ya? No. Thank you. Reconnect. Reconnect. Oh, you're not connecting. Come on. Ah, damn thing. Ain't gonna work. No. No. Phone doesn't decide what to work. But, yeah, on both grids for both tubes, it's looking beautiful. Like that's a nice sine wave. Pushed up a little further, goes into saturation. Put it down, we're good. So yeah, I'm thinking that might be a bad transformer. Because there's no reason why it should be that wonky. Tremolo goes on. Yep. Apple products do just work. OBS though, that's where the problem lies. So I go that there, because OBS has to send a call signal out to basically go, hey, I want this device, I want it to work now, but it is not. Ugh. That was a half-aborted sneeze. So yeah, I don't know. I have to check this thing out later because yeah, it's working, but there's definitely something going on with that output transformer. Don't know what though. OBS is good because it's open source. There's a lot you can do with it, but it's like Linux. It's that kind of thing. Okay. Ka-dunk. Well, I think I'm probably gonna pack up because yeah, I'm getting hungry. It's lunchtime. I've been going for almost 4 hours. Nice. That's not too bad. However, I will probably be back tomorrow anyway. You know, it's a Tuesday morning. Shop's closed. I'll do my thing as I do. Yeah, work on some other bits and pieces, check out some other things. I'll have to get in contact with the customer about this one, see what he wants to do. You know, obviously I could fix it and sell it, but he's not going to get a huge amount more to it. Or I can list it up kind of as is for someone who wants to buy it, knowing that they've just got to have a new transformer installed, if that's the case. I would like to confirm if that is indeed true, because yeah, there is definitely something going wacky on there. One half of the wave isn't doing what it needs to do. Yeah, it's fine all the way up to the grids. The trem seems to be doing kind of what it needs to, but yeah, it's a bit funky. Well, that was an absolute pleasure. Yeah, hopefully the equipment all worked and did the thing that it needs to do and all of that kind of stuff. Once again, as always, you know, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Change the bell notification icon as well, because that actually does bring about the more people who actually do that, who go into the notifications, click the little bell icon and change it from personalized to all. It indicates to YouTube to feed us more up in the algorithm. And I want to game it. That's what I want to do. I want to play that game, and, you know, Tom Scott's not around anymore. Not that I'm ever anywhere near as, you know, charismatic as that gentleman. But if I can at least, you know, make a couple of bucks out of things for hopefully entertaining people and being a little bit of, you know, a little bit educational, that'll be a plus. And yeah, gentlemen, because let's be honest, 99% chance that you are all gentlemen, I will see you guys on the next one.